want to thank everyone for coming.
Don't worry.
So bear with us a little bit. So they've given this training a number of times. This is the first time it's given to an OEM. So as Honeywell was one of the first people to sign up, which you think, wow, of course they'd be. That took 18 months between the Tridium legal department and Honeywell legal department to figure out how to come to agreement on terms, which at one point I said, I think you should just sue each other and let's get this done with. But it was fine. But it's actually been a process to get this up and going inside the Honeywell brand. Part of it was because Honeywell also has RBM, which is its own cloud instantiation, whereas Niagara has this whole completely separate cloud deal. Now, while I say completely separate, they're hosted in the similar places. We obviously take advantage of the savings by doing all that, but they are different clouds. And a lot of the Honeywell cloud, all the connectors and things, was written by the Tridium team. So we helped them get their cloud up and running. I look at it as two different products for solving different problems. And I really do believe that that's what it is. And so it should be pretty cool. I think what you're going to see more from the Niagara side is the whole way we're even building out our cloud infrastructure is more about, it has a Niagara look and feel. Niagara's a platform that's designed to be built upon. And that way you build out your cloud infrastructure in the end how you want. Now, some of it's still new and doesn't have a lot of that feature, but that's the direction it's going. It's going to be a very Niagara type cloud. We're also in the process of building out a full supervisor in the cloud as well. So all these things kind of you'll start to see the picture as they start all coming together. But right now what we have is the different pieces and features of the cloud that we wanted also to be able to offer it in a way that people didn't have to buy everything when all they need is maybe a few pieces of it. Some things coming out too that are going to even make it more interesting especially for the Honeywell team. So I'm from Tridium. My customers, Honeywell, so all of you are my customers because of that. And we got in early with our development team. And has able to update a lot of the Honeywell software tools. And so now they're going to be released. I've been told they're going to be released pretty soon here, like within the next month. They're all HTML5, which now allow you, and when you're showing your remote, it means that you'll be able to remotely engineer across the cloud connector. So that'll be cool. So I'm just going to start. They only trust me with the overview and business stuff anymore. I used to be the Jerome, but that's been a long time ago. And so we'll just kind of go over the high level of what the cloud is, what the different pieces are, and all that. The training is solid. All the peripheral stuff we're going to do for you guys around the training, that part hasn't been really solidified with all the changes and stuff going on in Honeywell and how that's solidified, so bear with us there. And we wanted to roll this out with Control Depot because I do actually believe they're probably one of our most loyal and one of our best distributors. So I think you guys are lucky to be working with them. I've worked with them since Control Depot was inception. I worked with them before that, right? So great group of guys. I always like coming down here. So all right, let's get this rolling. It has a nut. 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 Oh, I didn't. It has a nut. It has a nut.
Screen is the one that's up there.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Sweet. You got it.
It has a nut. Right. Today's going to be Jerome, who's one of our application specialists. I already talked a little bit about who I am. And I was at Honeywell for 15 years before I ended up over at Tridium. And I was involved in the Tridium acquisition during the first round. So kind of fun to be on this side when I was involved in acquiring them. And then I must obviously like it somehow because I came back to that side. So I've always been a believer of the platform and what it can do. I kind of have seen it transform our business. It has a nut. It has a lot of people are out there, especially in our business, don't need cloud. Well, cloud. Don't want to deal with cloud. But the cloud really answers a lot of problems. It doesn't answer everything, and some people don't need the cloud. But I think a lot more of them would benefit from what's coming and what we have from a cloud solution. So there are just a lot of problems that helps us solve going forward. Even from the standpoint of, I don't think people truly understand why so many companies want to build in the cloud platform, because it is a lot of work to create a build and send it out to everybody and have them update all the stuff out in the field. Now you got to maintain all the old builds because you don't know what's been updated, what hasn't. Then if there's a problem, you have to wait for that problem to come back to you that you didn't find, and then you got to deal with it and send that build back out, and you don't know who's installed it or what problems are. So when you have a cloud instantiation of your software, it's really nice because you'll have a sandbox. You could test the whole thing out against the database that's there. You could flip it. If there's a problem, you could flip it back. And it's so much easier to roll out features and things like that, and you can roll them out on a much more aggressive time schedule as they're ready, instead of having to rail them out. So that's why so many companies want to move to the cloud. It just makes the whole development process better. It makes it smoother to roll it out to the customers with less problems. And if there's a problem, sometimes you can even hide from them even seeing there was a problem. And so, I mean, that just from a high level building the software standpoint, that's why so many people want to move to a cloud offering. We know that that's never just the only way we'll be able to offer a platform, but it does allow us to offer some things and speed up some development work that we wouldn't have been able to do without a cloud platform. So all that is nice. And then, Niagara 5 is going to be about making that on-prem to cloud piece. It's about making that seamless, right? Making it more and more so it doesn't matter which one you choose. You're on-prem or you're in the cloud. These are all a bunch of other reasons why you might want to move parts of your solution to the cloud. So when you're talking about certain things, the cloud really becomes a much better place for certain services to be offered. Enterprise analytics. When you're talking about big data, which is storing a ton of data, using analytics to drive through that data and be able to find the needle in the haystack, which is what that's really great at, that's where the cloud, you really can't do it unless you're on a cloud platform. You can do it, but it's so much more efficient, so much better in the cloud platform because you have the horsepower to do it. And the beauty is it's more cost effective too, because you can spool up or spool down. It shares that energy that they use to be able to do those analytics. And I've got a lot of time spent looking at this and doing that part of the business. And it really is most of the analytics work 1,000 times better. They talk about analytics at the edge. Those are such finite applications that you can do at the edge, and always will be, because you only have so much data you're ever going to be able to store at the edge. The big ahas, the big savings, the big, ability to find things, the needles in a haystack, are always going to be up at the cloud level. And that's obviously a personal opinion, but it's what I've seen play out as they've moved more and more of the analytics around. Same thing, be able, when you're looking at carbon, all those things, again, you're looking at how do I tweak big data to reduce our carbon footprints and things like that. Occupant experience, all these things are things that the cloud helps you with. So the Niagara Cloud has multiple pieces to it. It started out with 3 pieces, and now we're up to 5 pieces of it, with Niagara 5 coming, which is just going to enhance the whole thing. But it has the original 3 pieces with Niagara Remote. We're going to be going into these in depth, which allows you to connect remotely. Jerome will talk more about this. What I'm seeing is other people say, okay, got him. Thanks. So It has people are like, well, there's other ways I can connect into this site. Correct. What we're finding, though, is IT people like connecting through our cloud connector because it's an outbound connection. You don't have to establish an inbound connection. It first established, all the connection is established from the inside the site out. It has it's what IT people who won't let you put a VPN in will allow this a lot of times. So it becomes a really good tool. And I know people who are like, we don't need the cloud. We need to talk to you about remote because they won't let us in otherwise. So it's a way to. And what is Tridium all about? First, security. So it is the most secure way right now to make a connection into a person's facility. And it goes out on just a normal, if they have access to any type of internet from internal, then you can go out on that same internet signal. So it makes it real clean.
We'll be talking about that.
Yeah.
The details, the connection.
Niagara Recover, that allows you to have a backup, up to 5 backups, a golden backup. Again, these are all things that Jerome's going to go over deeper. It has a lot of people are looking at that going, for that amount of money, it's not worth me sending a service guy to keep the thing backed up. And so as part of service contracts, a lot of people are offering Niagara Recover. Maybe that's the first place they even start, is offering recovery as part of their service contracts. It's a great way to do it. Everyone says, yeah, but I could just get a thumb drive, but you don't. No one takes the thumb drive and goes out there, and then somebody loses the thumb drive. And basically, you lost everything from the last time the person was there. This all happens automatically. It's up there. And I've heard people say it has saved their bacon. So that's a really good one. And that in the future is also going to be the place that, as we come out with Niagara 5, one of the things that's going to happen is you're going to be able to update the supervisors and all the Niagara controllers downstream of it. And all that updates, if you want to do them from the cloud, will happen up there in Niagara Recover. And then data services. This is where you can offer data from Niagara. So it's about making data available, especially to people who aren't controls people or building people. So you got business people who want energy data out of the system and they want to use it somewhere else. The data services allows you to put that data up in the cloud for them, and then they use a RESTful API, which is what any developer out there understands. A RESTful API. This is what they want to. They go, yeah, that's what I want to get the data out of the system. So if you've got a customer who wants that data, and we had, I guess I can't say that on here. We had a customer who is a popular platform, social media platform, wanted the data from all their servers inside of a data center, and that's how they were able to get the data out, was through this type of a connection. So pretty cool stuff. We got third-party apps that we're starting to allow in, and then Niagara 5, we also have cloud connectors for OEMs, but we're looking at how do we make those cloud connectors available for others who just want to have a link into their own cloud for the future. We understand that that's something people are going to be wanting. So, we still think of ourselves as a platform enabling things for you guys to add value to your customers. And so everything we do is about trying to create a platform for you. Continue to add things that add value for you and your customers. So I probably talked a little bit about this already. Data services allows API connection to third-party services. So also third-party systems, like somebody wants the data to go into their some other building system that they're wanting data for. They can use that connection for that. Live read write data via APIs. Jerome's going to go through some of that. Alarm management now is up in this part of as well as commands and APIs histories are all up there. What you're looking at, has any of that other stuff been opened up yet?
And it's the roadmap has changed a little bit.
I was going to say this actually looks.
Yeah, the roadmap has changed a little bit, but those functionalities are coming. Point manager will be that. The idea there is Niagara Network what we're calling Fox C or Fox over Cloud. I'm going to just barely touch on that today. I added it in last night to the presentation. That I'm going to there'll be a lot more conversation about that at the summit week after next. We are on the precipice of that coming out. So Point Manager will be there. It's effectively Niagara Network to the cloud. And then schedules, dashboard widgets, things like that. Those are all kind of in the future. Same with the AI chatbot.
Okay.
That's part of Niagara 5.
I wasn't sure if schedule was a new alarm management was.
Yep.
It has a just another way to look at what we were saying. No add-on gateways, obviously, because the beauty is you can just do it out of any JACE. It has clean contextualized data. It'll be best when Jerome displays it versus me talking about it. It has read-write via API, alarm management, UI, alarm services via API. A lot of ways to say the same thing. It has a user testimonial. Which is always good. We'll send these out. If you want to do a 90-day evaluation, anyone can do a 90-day evaluation. I am working on getting everybody a year-long subscription to all the cloud features. I just have to still get that approved. We'll get that to you as soon as I get that approved. But if you want to do on any site, if you want to do a 90-day trial on top of that, you can do a 90-day trial on a site to prove to a customer that, hey, this is worthwhile. So, and that's any of the parts of what we're showing here. And they're also available, if you don't have them here, on the Tridium website is where you would even sign up for it. So you can see it there as well. It has a Niagara Recover. Again, obviously a remote connection helps you troubleshoot things remotely, keeps your field text down. I think being able to now use that same connection and do the engineering across it is even more useful. So it is pretty cool. It has a Niagara Recover. We talked a little bit about this, backups on demand, 1 golden, which that way you always have the one is good that you can go back to, but you can still keep updating them from there. Cloud initiated restore is what I was talking about, is what's coming in the future. So it allows you to restore any devices from the cloud, automate it, and also update based on the newest versions. Did you want to say something?
No, I'll be speaking more about
it. So, like we talked about, cloud's trying to change the status quo. This is an example of today. You have to visit the site, diagnose everything. Obviously, it's increased cost to serve doing it the way today is versus, hey, you can diagnose remotely. A lot of times, you can fix the problems remote. These are things we've all kind of seen and understand the value of, but it's the value of being able to do it, seamlessly through a cloud and having all the different offerings up there already. Oops. It doesn't just like that. Okay. So you can log into any Niagara supervisor or JACE remotely, so you don't have to have a supervisor to log in. You can log directly into a JACE. No additional hardwares or gateways or VPNs needed. That's kind of a big deal because a lot of times they don't want. It's another thing to go wrong. You just have to have a JACE, be able to download the software to it, and some of them are now coming with it, right? 4.15.
Yeah, so starting at 4.15, the module is a part of the core software. So you're not gonna need to go grab the module from Niagara Central and download it and add it to. It is part of the core software. Obviously not licensed from there, but the module is in there in your palette. You can pull it in as soon as it's done.
You also see that in the Cloud Suite management portal. You'll be able to have all your customers in one place. So you'll be able to roll through your customers within that portal. So Jerome's going to again go through some of that. I'm just kind of setting the groundwork here for that. It has a
Just yes. So I'll show you. You drop it in, and then it's automatically going to check the license having it serving when it gets added to it, and then the onboarding or the RPI or RPK authentication is the process where it goes out, checks the license state, and then configures. You'll see, but I have it set up.
There's some demos they're talking about. Jerome's going to be doing here down the road in the class later. So Foxy device-device connectivity, that's what Jerome was talking about, is coming out soon. A lot of that will be talked about at the Niagara Summit. Again, wire sheet access, and the beauty is Niagara Remote now with the new Honeywell tools, you'll be able to use Honeywell tools to remotely engineer.
The big one there at the top, and this isn't in the lesson plan for today, but I'll probably show it to you guys anyways. Starting at 415, UX Builder came around, so you can do your graphics work remotely too. So that was one limiting factor. Obviously, the limiting factor with working in the browser locally as well was needing to be a workbench to do any sort of graphics work. That hold up is now removed. That works perfectly fine.
So yeah, Jerome mentioned that you'll be able to do your graphics work remotely through the cloud, which is new.
I'll show that.
And that's a big value adder, right? Having the graphics team not have to be on site. Now you can break up the work more than you could have, right? You can have a graphics guy who's not going out to every site doing graphics. And the traditional control contractor model talks about, what we tend to do is have, okay, your job, you engineer it, you program it, you do the graphics and everything. And we're seeing more people start to break that up because the people who are good at graphics aren't necessarily the people who are good at programming. And so breaking some of that up can make you a lot more efficient. So that's what this is helping enable, is breaking up some of those different tasks for people who are better at the different types of tasks. Here's a 90-day trial for Remote and Recover. Again, same thing. You can find this also on the website, but I'll send these a lot of these slides out. There's now an SMA that's a Niagara Cloud Suite SMA, which bundles all this stuff together. So that is an option out there. It's actually a really efficient way to do it if you're interested in going to the cloud. There's university courses. So one thing, there's Tridium University courses on this, but there's also a ton of YouTube videos by Jerome and his team. All his other teammates have videos up there about every little piece of this, going in depth into how you set it up. So if you didn't see it here or you can't remember how it's done, it's probably already on the Tridium YouTube site.
I think there's 14 or 15 videos ranging from 8 minutes to a half hour.
Yeah, so they're all in smaller bite size. Those are really great, as well as there's the
Tridium.
The Tridium talks, which go into this stuff as well. So there's a wealth of places to go find more information if you want. And I just let you know, because that is one of the better things we do, I think. So you have to do this right now, but if you already don't get information from us about what's going on, latest things, tech articles, things like that, sign up. Anyone can sign up. It's a great way to keep up to date with what's happening. Again, anywhere you can go, you can say it. This is great because it's hard to find on the website. I find everything hard to find on the website. It's all there. Just go to the website, Larry. Yeah. Jerome, where's that? But it's all up there. There's a lot of information up there. I won't say it's easy to find, but there's a lot of information up there. It has, and one of the best things I think that comes out is we have a newsletter that comes out every quarter.
Yeah, something like that.
Roughly every couple months or every quarter, and that just kind of lets you know what's up to date, what's happening, what's getting end of life, just a little bit of everything, and it's a pretty quick read, but it keeps you up to date. Tridium talks, we talked about that. It has those are up there, the beauties. If you miss them, they log them. I've gone back and watched a few. They're really good. Technical bulletins, Niagara News. There's just a lot of stuff that you can stay. We try to stay connected with people. We're always trying to be better at that, but we actually have a lot of things out there to try to keep you up to date with what's happening.
I don't know if you guys have anything to do with how that Tridium communication, each site is organized and built. But one of the issues I have a lot of times is there's an article on there on some topic.
Yep.
And I would like to save that as a PDF.
That'd be great one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why do we not have that?
Yeah. I hear you.
Throwing it out.
I hear you. That has been noted. That exact thing has been noted.
So now you know we don't have the ability to change that yet, but we will tell the people who it has a menu. We always try to pass that information back.
And that one specific has been.
I think that one's bit me too. It's not as good.
Yeah.
It has a not. All right. You ready for the real learning now? Yeah. Ivan, just small group. Ask any questions as you have them. Just stop us. Close aside with anything. And it doesn't even have to be cloud related. Anything. Okay. So I think I met most of you guys here when was that? A few months ago, Larry? November? Yeah, I was down here in November for the open house here. I think I met most of you guys, but if we haven't met, I'm Jerome Berquist. I'm a senior, a whole bunch of words, sales engineer with Tridium. What it boils down to is I am a brand agnostic technical resource available to anybody who is considering using or is frustrated with the use of the Niagara platform. Is really kind of what my job is. A lot of that involves classes, right? Teaching classes, stuff like this, as well as hold on, let me make sure I got everything open here that I wanted to have open. Yeah. As well as going out and helping on, stream service call problems, stuff like that, things along those lines. It's kind of a nerd on call. It's kind of how I think about it. So, all right, with that, we will dive in here. Their screen still recording. Great. Let's do this. All right. So, you know what I still need to do here? Dismiss. I don't want to do that right now. Okay. There. Close that one out. Now I just have this. So let's go through what the agenda is here. Quickly, we're going to take a look at the overview of what it is. Larry already touched on that some. I'll dive in a little deeper on them. We'll go over what the portal looks like. So there's going to be two portals. One is for you as a partner, and then just downstream of that is going to be the view of your customers. So we can kind of talk through what either of those will look like. Managing customers and projects, setting up an onboarding device. We'll talk through the modeling, the histories, the alarming, all that kind of good stuff. And then at the end, just like Larry had there, I'll make sure you guys see the resources and point them out to you so you can kind of know where to go to get questions further down the line, because I have been in your position, and I know that you don't necessarily think of the questions while we're all sitting in the same room.
So I want to make sure you've got the resources to go there. I suppose that was something else I was going to mention. A little background where I'm coming from. I started my career with Siemens, working with Apogee, and then designing the Desigo CC user interface, and then stepped away from that at the start of Niagara 4, and was certified in AX, and then led the transition for a small contractor in the Twin Cities area. The migration from AX to N4, and that's where I got into Niagara, and that was 13 years ago at this point. And have kind of been doing that. I've been a contractor, I've been a controls manufacturer and product owner and designer, and then I came on board with Tridium as a resource and a instructor, and to help you guys out, kind of to help everybody, as much as I can, kind of get buildings up to snuff, right? Get more commercial buildings automated and running more efficiently. So that's where I'm coming from. So I
It
in the shoes of the small contractor, and I know how frustrating it can be. So I'm going to be trying to speak to that on what some of the benefits and parts of the cloud suite are going to be that can help you.
It has
All right. So Larry had this slide up already, but we'll talk about it a little bit. Recover to me is the baseline. This is something that I honestly think every SI should just include, right? Because it is, as much as it's going to save your customer time and money potentially, really it's about the contract. It's about the SI, right? Because if you run into an issue with a lost backup, or with really outdated backups, right? It's a raging pain in the neck. Or worst case scenario, no backup available, right? With my time as an SI, there was one point where a process steam pipe broke and cut the hard drive in half that all of the backups were saved to, right? It was like a worst case scenario calamity, and I ended up having to build that supervisor from the ground up on it, right? Something like this that is a negligible cost for Recover would have meant that I could have gone and grabbed a backup and restored it in a matter of minutes, as opposed to a couple of weeks of engineering work, right? So that's what Recover is. Remote is going to be pretty obvious. It's a remote connection, right? The data service is any dashboarding, FDD, alarming, things along those lines. Anything you want to build out or you want to connect to a third party, you got it. And also, we have a data service portal as well, and we'll be looking at that here in a little bit. Coming in N5 is going to be supervisor access, as well as before N5 is going to be FOX-C. So FOX-C is going to be an enabler for you to build out a cloud supervisor.
It has
So that'll allow you to, if you stand up an instance of Niagara in AWS or your own cloud, whatever cloud, right? You can stand up an instance, and then you can pull in all those Niagara network connections over FOX-C. Which uses the framework of remote, is what it's using as the framework. And that's going to allow you to only need the port 443 outbound firewall, the hole, door, whatever you want to call it. I'm not a networking guy, I'm a controls guy, right? That's what's going to facilitate that. So what I mean by that, Larry mentioned this, the connection, the Niagara Cloud Suite connection is a reverse proxy over port 443. Port 443, if you don't know, is the standard internet connection. So any network that has any ability to go grab data off the internet, most likely, there are some exceptions to this, but most likely port 443 is already open. That means you're not going to need to work with the IT team to make an exception, make a rule, any sort of port forwarding or public IP address, anything like that, you don't need to worry about it. All right. The connection is outbound only. The station reaches out to the cloud, and then between them, it sets up a reverse proxy. So that's how it becomes bidirectional. But from the network's perspective, it is only an outbound connection. So that is inherently much, much more secure from the infrastructure side.
It has.
Does anybody have any questions about that? That's one that's
a brochure that shows that visually.
Yeah. We can get you something that kind of explains that. But that's the sort of thing you go to an IT team and you say it, and they'll be like, "Oh, sweet." You know what I mean? It's kind of speaking their language, and then they'll get it. But we can make sure we get you some materials.
Yeah, I'm marketing like just a one sheet.
Yep.
To give the customer's IT department.
Yeah.
They did have that.
Yeah, Larry, I think we can find something for that.
It has a.
Discussing the reverse proxy over port 4. Yeah. Yeah.
Just something simple like visual. That's visual showed.
Yeah.
I had to do that the other day. I went to AI and like security. It sounded no good. I didn't probably get to create this.
And then third-party apps, right? This is any sort of an FDD program, right? There are plenty of companies out there that'll make you dashboards, stuff like that. That's where this connection is as well. Also, you can do things like Grafana, and I'll show an example of that here in a little while when we dig in. Grafana, or you can use Postman to make the calls. Right now, that's a tool. That's not really a way to display or anything like that, but it's a tool you can use to make and test those API calls. All right. So what does the architecture look like? So here's kind of what we're talking about. Some right. When we get here, you can see this is an outbound over port 443. 443 is the HTTPS port, the typical port. That's going out to the Niagara Cloud Suite, and then that establishes the reverse proxy that then goes back and forth. The reverse proxy basically means it's blind to both sides, right? So the Cloud Suite doesn't know who or where it is over there. It just says, all right, we have a trusted certificate, so we're cool, right? And then likewise, the network isn't revealing anything to the cloud, right? So it's blind both ways, but it's established via certificates to ensure security. All right. So what's the roadmap look like? Kind of what are we doing here? This is a little bit of a different way of visualizing what Larry had shown. But up here is really what I want to be focusing on when we talk. All of this is encrypted.
It has a.
This is not BACnet, right? BACnet's awesome. I really like using it, but also it's not encrypted at all, right? The BACnet Secure Connect is the answer to that, but I'm sure all of you have fully adopted BACnet Secure Connect and only use it, right?
It has.
This is encrypted in all directions, right? So, in the extremely unlikely instance of interception of communication, it wouldn't do anybody any good, right? There are device certificates that are automatically configured and set up upon onboarding, and you'll see that when I go through the onboarding process, you'll see a authentication has started, but the certificate exchange hasn't finished, just for a couple of moments, but it's happening automatically and at computer speed, right? So it's pretty quick that it'll switch over to authenticated as well, right? So that certificate management is there, and like I said, they exchange the certificates, and then it's trusted and it's a secure connection. Any sort of IoT devices or tools, right? So again, third-party cloud, FDD, energy applications, things along those lines, those connections will be there. And then also multi-factor authentication is mandated here. So you will need to use MFA. You'll need an authenticator, second form of authentication. Typically it's your phone, right? You'll have an authenticator app on your phone. What this does is this also effectively eliminates
It has a
having the same user for multiple people, right? So this isn't going to be facilities as the username, facilities as the password, and then you don't know which of the 7 facilities guys made the change, kind of thing, right? Now, the Niagara station may still be that way.
It has
any changes that are made via the cloud, any adjustments, any alarm acknowledgement, anything like that, you'll know who it was. So that is a huge security step.
Yeah. So is there a separate audit log in the cloud service versus what's on the Jace?
Yeah. All right. So
it has a
that's kind of through the what a little bit. Let's start talking about some of the details.
It has a
it has about there's partner and customer in the portal. The partner, when I use the term partner, I'm talking about the systems integrator, right? Systems integrator or distributor, right? Distributor, their cloud view will also be a partner view. Underneath of them, they'll see all of their SIs, and then underneath of the who are also partners, and then underneath of that will be customer view. When you're purchasing a cloud suite subscription, when you're setting it up, there is registration form that's involved. I can kind of go through that quick. That is in the midst of being made easier. So really, we're going to make sure that the Control Depot guys have that information, and then when you say, "All right, I'm going to set up a new NCS instance," we'll make sure that they know how to the information that's needed and to get that set up through that way. All right. So, cloud portal access. What do you need? First thing, Larry already put up the Niagara community sign up. You need to be. that's the credential store that we use, right? That's the identity provider that is used for the cloud portal is the Niagara community credentials. So you need to have an account on community, and then it needs to be associated with your company, right? So that when Control Depot sets up, hey, this is a new instance of NCS, it's a part of, it's underneath them, and then your user will be a part of it too. Associating, getting things moved around, Tridium support can do that. It does take a few minutes, so it's not going to be an instant change. It takes anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes for all the identities to be synchronized across. But as you get set up, you need to make sure you have a community credential or community account, and that it's associated with your company. Okay.
It has
get through to my notes here.
It has
right. So once you're connected, as far as adding users go, this is in the portal here. Why don't we jump in there now?
It has
instead of just going here. Look, need mine.
It has
this guy here. Okay.
It has
cloud.
It has
I'm getting the notification on my phone.
I'm going
to approve it.
It has
just Salesforce, or is that just what you use?
Yeah, so that's what I use. So the default is Salesforce Authenticator. I'm going to be going through the setup here. You can use others. It's just there's one additional step to say, hey, I want to use something else in the user creation. So we're in the portal here. This is the partner portal, right? So I'm seeing each of my individual customers underneath. This is like Control Depot would see. This is like you as an SI would see, right? You'd see your customers underneath. And then we'll just pick this one. So now here, this is the customer view, right? So we've stepped from the partner view down to the customer view. Now I'm seeing all of the projects associated with that customer, and then all of the devices underneath of that. Right now I'm seeing all the devices. For all the projects, I can also narrow it down. Like, let's just take a look at my 2 sites, Minneapolis lab and North Remote lab, right? Now it's narrowed down.
It has
The users, we go in here and we go into users and we want to add a user. This is where I was just showing over here, right? Go into the add a user. What that's going to show you next is it's going to be what role do I want it to have? First of all, you're going to enter obviously the email, and you also need to enter a customer. The customer needs to be known, right? So this looks like a free type field. That's one thing that I want to note. It looks like a free type field, but it does need to be an existing customer that's associated with you, right? From there, this is not unlike the user role, the user service within Workbench. You're setting up what their role is and what they have access to. So once you type in their email address, associate them with the name, associate them with their station, right, with what they have access to and what their role is, it's going to send an email to that user, right, to that email address, and that looks exactly like this. Hey, you have a new user invitation. You'll go through, and once you click through to accept, this will pop up on the screen within the browser, and you'll just they'll just click accept and say, and then that is going to associate them with it. Again, it takes a few minutes, so you're not going to accept the invitation and then immediately go over to the Cloud Suite. It's going to take about 15 minutes for that synchronization to happen. So if you have a user that you set them up, a new customer, and they're excited about it, hopefully they are, go and be like, hey, what the heck, man? I thought this worked. I accepted it. You just take a breath, go refill your coffee, take a lap, and then come back, and it should be, it should be up and working for you. All right. So
how long after they get the invitation do they have to accept or times out?
It's I'm not sure. I think it might be like 7 days or something like it's not an immediate thing. There are a couple of relatively quick timeouts that we'll talk about, or one specifically, and that's in the onboarding. I'll get to that here shortly, but it's not an immediate. It's not like if you add them on a Friday, it's not going to be expired by the time they,
Yeah, because I know the Honeywell stuff. It's
that it's
24, 48 hours.
Yeah, no, I think it's a few days. We can Larry, can you take note of that? User invitation expiration. Yeah, we'll get an answer for that. Okay, sweet. Okay, so like I mentioned before, user invitation expiration timeline. Like we made note of before, multi-factor authentication is enforced with the Niagara Cloud Suite. You have to use it. So it requires enrolling in some way. It's suggested to use the Salesforce Authenticator app, mostly because it's easy, right? Because it's the default. It's easy enough, right? If you already have an authenticator app, whether that's Authly or Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator, if you already have one set up and you use it for other accounts, for SSO on your own network, stuff like that, cool. It just, like I said, it just means one more step. It'll be easy enough here. Using the Salesforce Authenticator, when you've accepted your invitation, right, and now you're going and you're connecting for the first time, what are you going to see? You're going to see this pop up here. It's going to say to make sure your Salesforce account is secured, because it is a Salesforce account. That is the authentication provider that this is all built on. Your Niagara community credentials are in a Salesforce authentication pool. Okay, you need to set up MFA. You go through, you register in the Salesforce Authenticator app. You're going to get this pop up here where it's going to say we have a verification code is sent to your email, right? And so that'll be a 6-digit code like we're all used to. You'll type that here, and then the next step is a 2-word phrase. So after that is configured, after the 6-digit code is configured, then it's going to pop up a 2-word phrase that I think the last time I did it, it was like turtle and tree or something. It's just 2 completely random words. You type that into here, and now you've proven sufficiently that this is, you're looking at the phone and you're looking at that email address. This is definitely you. Once that's done,
It has a
account is going to be added. It's going to show up in your Salesforce Authenticator list. And now when you log in to the Cloud Suite, you're going to get a notification on your phone, and then open the Authenticator app and click, yes, it's me, and you'll be right through.
It has a
Okay, so if you are using a different authenticator app, the very first thing you're going to see when you go to set up MFA is this option here. By default, it's going to be on use Salesforce Authenticator mobile app. You can also use verification codes from an authenticator app, right? So if you select that button, click through, that's going to pull up a QR code. You'll scan the QR code with your phone, right, or with your app, and now that's going to link it. You'll get the verification code from there, and then an email will be sent as well with a verification code, and then that is making that connection. So now you can use your third-party authentication app that way.
It has a
Okay. Anybody have any questions about that? That's kind of a
It has a
just try and blast through and make sure you guys hear it so that you're not surprised by any steps of it along the way. We've talked about this a little bit. What does the cloud portal look like? This is the partner view. You have your customers underneath, and then your customer view is your projects are that's how you're gonna organize your projects there.
It
Let me get my notes here to the point of where we're at.
It has a
All right. So
It has
I've already logged in. We've talked about partner accounts, customer accounts.
It has a
All right. So from here, this is where we're going to create a new project. When we onboard a device, we are going to need a project, a bucket for it to land in, right? So I have not created a project here. Let's go ahead and create one.
It has a
Call the project Control Depot.
It has a
When we go there, there are no devices in there yet, right?
It has a
now, we go over to Workbench here. Let me just refresh all these pages since I haven't looked at them in a while. They may have timed out. Okay. Yep. And I've got my station running locally. Sweet. All right. So now I've got my palette open. I've got the CloudLink NCS palette. And the Niagara Cloud Service is in there.
It has
I'm just going to go ahead and obviously I could drag it over here, but out of force of habit, I always drag it up here.
It has a
Okay, and then we'll open up that guy. So here is our cloud service, what it's going to look like.
It has
it open before, so that automatically opened up. You're going to open up here. You're going to see authenticators. Federated Identity Authenticator is how we establish the connection. I'm going to right-click on that and start registration.
It has a
So what this creates here is you'll have your registration code and your registration URL, and then you'll notice the code expiration. So that's 15 minutes. This is where I was saying there is one that has a relatively short timeout. If you miss this, right, if you start the registration and then your apprentice says, hey, boss, I really need you over here right now. Okay, cool. Step away. All you have to do is just start registration again. It's not like you have one shot at it kind of thing, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy out this URL. You'll notice that the registration code is out at the end here. I don't know why we show you the registration code and the registration URL. You really don't use that at all, unless maybe you're doing a whole bunch in quick succession and you need to be able to identify which one you're looking at. I suppose that could be a reason for it. But I'm going to right-click on the registration URL.
It has
Here. I'm going to paste it up here. And now you'll see it auto fills in the registration code. I need to give it a device name. I'm going to call it Control Depot PCI. Station. Now here, this is kind of a funny thing to note. You need to click on it. There's no bubble or checkbox or anything that indicates, and it lists there. It's the only one listed. It feels like it should be like, oh yeah, of course. You need to click on it just to give it there. And then you're associating it with a project. I'm going to associate it with Control Depot, and then the location. This is location is not geographically specific, or doesn't have to be. When you're registering the device, when you guys are working with the Control Depot folks and saying, all right, this is going to be a new device, it's going to be located here, this is the customer for it, that does need a geographic specific kind of, city and state kind of thing, right? City, state, country kind of, or province, city, province, country, if you're doing a project up in Canada or whatever, right? That is needed for that. For this is for the customer's organization. So if they have a Niagara supervisor on a college campus, this could be engineering building or art building or 15th floor, right? If there's a Jace for each floor, right? So the location is for the purpose of organization, not necessarily for geo-locks or anything like that. That's something to note here. So I'm going to click done there, and when I click over here, this here will switch to registered and authentication pending. So this now is that certificate, that automated certificate exchange that I was talking about, right? Pretty quickly, within a few minutes at most, few moments at most, I guess, that's going to switch over to registered and authenticated. So what's happening here is now the model is being built out, the data model is being built out. It's exchanging that data between the cloud suite and the station. Yeah. So we're in there, we're good. Now, there we go. It shows up right there. So now we have our remote, we have our data service, and we have our recover. This is obviously a dummy site. There's really nothing there, right? I just created the station on my computer so I could show you guys onboarding. So I'm going to switch over to another station here to actually walk through the usage instances. But I wanted you to see there, right? You can see the subscription dates. What is the start date? What's the end date? Obviously, there's been no retrieval usage. There's been no data exchange here. And then that's true for NDS, for recover, and for remote. You can see where those go from. So with that, let's go over to the Jace that's in the basement of my house. All right. So Minneapolis lab. You can see as like an example. For the location of this other device, I just put the county that it's in, right? Because it's not really in a town. It's just out in the woods, right? In a cabin out in the woods. So that's where this is kind of a nonsensical geographical location, or very non-specific. This doesn't need to tie to anything. It's just how I chose to organize it. Okay, so let's start with recover. I mentioned this. You have 5 backups that are available to you within recover. They are not size limited. So I don't know if any of you used the backup service, remote backup service previously that was offered. One thing that our users ran into was that there was size limitations. So any sort of a big site, now suddenly you're running up against, I can't actually have a full backup, and that doesn't necessarily do you any good. So we made sure to change that with Niagara Recover. These are not size limited, but they're quantity limited. So you have 5. Honestly, you really shouldn't need more than 1 or 2 anyways. You have your golden image that you know, or your golden backup, you know, hey, I know I want it to be able to go to here, worst case scenario, or here's the most recent. If I've been happy with how it is, let's just bring it to the most recent. You'll notice the dates here. It's once a week, and then August was the last time I made substantial changes to the station. So that is my preferred backup. You can go and set that here if you open the edit button and then mark this backup as preferred. That's going to keep it so the other 4 roll. You don't have to add a note. See, it's good to add a note so that you know, hey, why was it that August 24th of last year is the backup that's saved? And that's because that's when I added an air handler. When I tied in the thermostat for the furnace, the actual air handler, and not the dummy air handler. It's in my basement, right? So that's what that is. And then these are once a week. So how this timing works, I'm going to move over and show you that in here. So within the cloud service, I'm going to go to my channels. It has a backup channel. It has a policies, default backup policy. And now this actually should look pretty familiar to you guys. It's just the backup service, right? But it's nested underneath of the cloud service here. The configuration of it is effectively the same, with one exception that I'll note. If you want to exclude files or folders, right, just like we often exclude files and folders from backups just because they're unnecessary to have or to include in backups, that you can set here. The one exception is right here, the encryption key, right? So the encryption key is how you decrypt the station when you bring it back down from the cloud, right? So when you download these, they are saved as an eDist2 file instead of just a dist file, right? Dist file, we all know you can change that to .zip and extract it, and you've got your bog file. You can go in and make your change and then change it back and act like nothing happened, right? That's really convenient for those of us that work on it, right? But convenience and security are kind of antithetical, right? So when we're saving this off-site, we need to make sure that it's encrypted. And so that's where it's saved as an eDist2 file, and the encryption key is what you're setting here. By default, it's going to be the system passphrase, right? You can change it to a password as well.
It has a
so you go in here. Yep. I'm just scrolling through my notes here to make sure.
It has a
okay. So I'm going to change it to a password.
And
I'm going to set it as a control depot.
It has a
0326.
It has
Save that.
I'm
going to go in here. I'm going to right click actions and execute. So they're pushing one manually here. If this is all automated, we don't want it to have to be manual. That's kind of losing a lot of the value of it, right? So by default, this is going to happen on the, where is it? Right there, execution time. So by default, this sets up to happen every Sunday at 3 a.m. with a 4-hour randomization period, right? So that's plus or minus 4 hours. That means it could happen Saturday at 11 p.m. to Sunday at 7 a.m., right? Anywhere in that period it'll hit. That randomization period is important because there may be other services on your network that also either flush updates or push updates or flush addresses or have some sort of a heavy load function that they want to do in off hours, right? And by having the randomization period, it lessens the chance that we're going to nuke a network with the station, as well as, the printers all pushing an update at the same time or something along those lines, right? So you will notice that when you look at Recover, you'll notice these times are not consistent. So it's plus or minus 4 hours from there. If you have a user where it is critical that, we need this to happen at this exact time so that our backups all have, we know a lot of medical device. Do you guys have much medical device manufacturing down here in this area? Okay, that's a big one in Minnesota, is medical device manufacturing, and obviously it's really heavily regulated, right? And so for them, they need to know their backups are going to happen at the same time, right? That way, if something were to happen that they needed to go back and review, hey, what happened here? They have 1 week blocks, right? So their randomization period is like 1 second, right? And then their IT team just makes sure, their infrastructure team makes sure that they're not going to have anything else cause a problem at that time, right? So you can adjust this if you need to. You can have it happen every day. You can have it happen once a week, right? You can also do it on an interval. So if you wanted to do it on an interval, a time interval, and set it at, once a week, or once every 3 days, or once a month kind of thing. You could set this at whatever, 30 times 24, right? However you want to work that out. You can do it that way. But by default, it's going to be once a week. It's going to be on Sunday, and it's going to be at 3 a.m. plus or minus 4 hours. That's the default there. So we have pushed. We have had a success. Let's go over here and take a look at actually downloading this. It has a. Anybody have any questions so far? I'm kind of blasting through it.
Sunday, but Saturday was checked.
Oh, was it Saturday checked? Okay.
It has a.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Saturday at 3 a.m. On this station is defaulting to.
It has a.
Okay. Yeah. It defaults to one of the weekend days. All right. I think that must have been a recent change. I don't know why they changed it, but yeah. Okay. So if we go to here, let's go to Control Depot, and then we'll go to Recover. So there's obviously only one here, and it's tiny, right? Because it's really just the one station. I'm going to download this.
You're going
to see
a
backup, Control Depot, PCI station. There's a timestamp there. And then critically here, it's an eDist2 file, right? So now if we go over here, and we go to, we really don't need to. Let's go through this way. When you go through your typical, backups, right? I go to my file system. Your home, right? Backups. Yeah, save that. Okay. So you'll notice here, it's not showing up. Right, in your typical backups. And that's because this is only showing files that have been brought over yet, right? So I am going to add this file into here. So user home. C. Users. Wherever it was that you saved this to. Okay, there it is. Desktop. Okay. All right. So now I'm saved into here. Distribution file installer.
It has a nut. 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 It has a nut.
Once we get through just this portion here, we'll take a 10-minute break, 15-minute break.
It has a nut.
I wanted to get through this first portion here, and then we'll dive into remote and the data service stuff.
It has a nut. 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 It has a
Distribution
nut.
file installer always takes so dang long. All right. While that's working, let's go over and take a look here. Kind of looking back at the user configuration. When
It has
you
a nut.
add a user, you can set their users and roles. You can also modify them later on too. This is in the partner portal.
It has a
We
nut.
go over to here, and we go to users and roles. Right? Let's just find one of my users. You can start typing, and it'll filter down. This is my customer user here. And then this is where we can configure the access, right? Manage access. What all does that user have access to, right? So I have access to my
It has a nut.
customer user has access to my labs, right? And then what is their role within it as well. See, so you've got admin role here. I don't believe, oh yeah, and then I have customer or user role on some other stations as well.
It has
So
a nut.
that's just like in Workbench, when you can set the user and role, and it can be multifaceted, right? You can have admin rights on some stations and user rights only on other stations, and maybe even a view only right as well. That is also there as an option.
It has a nut. It has a nut.
This done thinking yet? No. So that is that portion.
It has a nut. It has a
Yes,
nut.
we've gotten through setup and onboarding. We talked through all this good stuff here. Really walked through it. I did not show you the certificates. If we were to go over to certificate management, here's where you would see the federated identity or FedID certificates have now been added to the user key store in certificate management. And then also the user trust store, the Bootstrap root CA has been filled in there too. As we talked through, we've got registered and authenticated through the onboarding here, showing all the different steps. It adds if we were to go to the user service in the station, it adds a cloud user, cloud operator, and cloud admin roles to the station, right? So looking at your various roles, you'll now have 3 additional. They sync between the local user, admin, operator, and user. They're synced between. So you're not going to need to manage 2 sets of user types and roles.
It has a nut. It has a nut. It has a nut.
And then, you'll notice if you go to your tag dictionary, the Niagara Cloud Tag Dictionary is going to be on the station, is going to be added to the tag dictionary as well.
It has a nut. It has a nut. It has a nut.
And then I'll also note,
It has a nut.
breezed through.
It has a nut. It has a
Kind of
nut.
breezed through this portion over here, the channels. Let's go back over there quick. I do want to show that to you.
It has a nut. It has a nut. It has a nut.
These channels, because you don't need to,
It has a nut.
it's not an all or nothing subscription, right? There's the Recover subscription, remote subscription, and data service subscription. These channels that show up will change depending on if you have 1, 2, or all 3 of them. This is all of the channels for all 3. The model is the data service, right? Command is the data service as well. That's the read-write. Same with alarm. Backup is the Recover channel. Heartbeat is for all of them. And then
It has a nut.
I think if you were to do just Recover, you'd have Heartbeat and model. I think those are the 2 that show up. So when you go through here, depending on the subscription you have, these will change. I did want to make sure I mentioned that to you as well.
Can you have a cloud subscription without an active SMA?
No. So the cloud subscription is dependent on the SMA. That's part of why the bundle is really just kind of nice. If you can bundle them together, then your expiration date, then your subscription expiry is going to be the same for both the SMA and for the cloud. But it does need to have, even if you purchase 5 years of cloud or a year of cloud and your SMA ends in the middle of the year, it will stop working. It's dependent on having an active SMA. And a big reason for that is not to force the customer's hand, right? It really is, the SMA, one of the big purposes of it is features, right? I mean, any new features that come out, you can push, but it's also security patches and updates and everything else, right? Every update build is security patches and fixes, and also strengthening, right? Hey, we're seeing something that could potentially be a vulnerability in the future. With this, we're going to address it before it ever can become one. If you have an outgoing connection, we need to make sure that you have all the security patches available and that you can keep up with it.
So if I have a customer right now, they got Jace.
Yep.
And they want them out.
Yep.
Can I sign up and pay for that all right now?
You'd work through the Control Depot folks to get that, because it's going to be a feature added to the license. So you can't do it independently online right now.
Part numbers for the subscription available though today?
Yes. Yeah. Yep, they are available. And I mean, you can do it, but you'll need to work with them, right? Because the purchase goes through them, because it'll be under their customers, under their partners and their customers.
Available at Control Depot.
Yeah.
It has a.
And I should note as well, something that we haven't mentioned yet is that Cloud Suite works on any Niagara station. It does not matter what brand it is. It does not matter if that brand has signed the cloud reseller agreement, right? Honeywell is the first one to successfully sign the cloud reseller agreement, which is why Honeywell's the first one hosting an OEM PCI, right? We've been doing these through the Vicon channel for a year now, right about a year now. I think the first one was a week ago last week, right? That way, because obviously that's in-house, so we didn't have to get another OEM to sign off on it. Honeywell signed off on it. They're the first ones, but I've got cloud running on Linkspring Jaces, on Schneider Jaces, on Honeywell Jaces, in lab environments and stuff like that. So if you have a customer who also has, other brands as well, this can run on there. It doesn't matter to the cloud connector what brand it's sitting on.
Can't update their SMAs.
It has a.
SMAs are up to date.
So the SMAs on the client's got 3 Jaces. Those SMAs on each Jace have to be current.
Yeah.
For it to
Yep.
sync up.
Yep. And then the other part too is the version.
It has a.
Cloud Suite will run on the officially speaking, it needs to be on 450. It needs to be on the current feature build or the long-term support, which at this point LTS is also 415, right? But functionally speaking, it will run on 410. 410, what is it, U4 and north, whatever the 410 that lined up with 413 as a feature release, right? 410 was the long-term support when 413 and 414 were out. So it'll run there, and then it'll run 413 and newer. Those versions have the functionality, have the capability to run it. Of any brand.
So this Niagara-community.cloud. That's kind of
Yep, that's where you start. Yep, and then to actually connect to it is Niagara-Cloud.
It has a.
I mean, the other portion there, right? If we were to go here,
It has a.
Niagara Community is where you sign up and make sure you have a user, right?
It has a nut. 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 It has
So
a nut.
you can navigate to it from here.
It
Just
has
by
a nut.
clicking on cloud, right? That'll take you to the same spot.
It has
Now
a
that
nut.
redirects you to Niagara-cloud.com, right?
It has a nut. It has a nut. It has a nut.
Yeah. Yep.
It has a nut. 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 It has a nut.
So if you're just at the community page, right, and you're logged in, then you can just click cloud. Now, if you haven't, you can connect to the community without
It has a nut.
using your multi-factor authentication. But then when you click through to cloud, if you haven't yet logged in. Now, I've logged in and done MFA already.
It says register.
It has a nut.
Yep. So now you're at that spot where I was showing the screenshots for that.
It has a nut.
Okay. So one last thing here.
It has a nut. It has a nut. It has a
One
nut.
last thing here.
It has a nut. It has a nut.
There we go. We'll just cancel out of that. Go back up here.
It has a nut. 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 It has a nut.
Backups. So it's in there.
It has a nut. 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 It has a nut.
Think. Yep. All right. So this is where that encryption key is used. So I went from the my user home backups folder, and then I'm going to decrypt the distribution file. Type in the password we created for it.
It has a nut. 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 It has a nut.
Go to the decrypted file now. Sure. Right. So now you can see it in there. But the key here is that
It has a nut. It has a nut. It has a nut. It has a nut. It has a nut.
this will go a little faster. Now it shows up in your available backups, right? So it's not going to show up in your available backups list. You can't use it yet until you decrypt it using either the system passphrase or the password that you created for it.
What's the release date for Niagara 5?
Release date for Niagara 5 right now, we're looking at GA at the beginning of next year.
It has a
5-0.
nut. It has a 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 nut.
Sweet. Yeah. So now you can see here, there's that one available, and you can install it from there.
It has a nut.
Install a backup that we just took of the station that we're working on right now. But that's the process you'd go through if you needed to install the backup.
It has a
Do
nut.
you guys have any questions about this? Otherwise, we can take a 9:45. Start back again at 10. Take a 15-minute buy-own coffee break.
It has a nut.
Sweet.
It has a nut. 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 It has a nut.
No, what do you like then?
I mean, the one and was not should close down. Understand it? Plus, just let's say it. Then so you get. I didn't. That is. I mean, please. So which small contractor made this do what for?
ARI Mechanical.
It has a nut.
Really small. It's my dad. it's our family business. I've been in the HVAC world since I was a kid. And like he said, like he likes to say, I looked like I was 36 since I was 14. So he kind of was like, yeah, come out to projects with me. Starting from a young age, changing filters and cleaning coils, and went to college for some other things at first, and then realized, it's my destiny.
Got it. Thing is,
You familiar with some of the contractors folks up there? Oh, are you? Oh, so you know Bob German then, don't you?
things. Tired.
Well, I know he's retired. I see him probably once every 6 months at breakfast. So he and my dad are pretty close friends. And And
So
so,
I used to work for a manufacturer.
okay,
For equipment. My background is in equipment.
okay,
I've been working for full contract for about 5 years.
okay.
Yeah, that's authorized.
Yeah, so that you're probably getting not authorized because you don't have a,
It has a not.
Not associated.
yeah, not associated yet.
That's whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Bob's a good dude. Bob's a good dude. I like him.
It has a not.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, I know.
Yeah.
So we bounced jobs together.
Yeah.
Back when I worked for Thermare, which as the small manufacturer.
Yeah.
Just got bought up by TMS Johnson.
Okay.
Well, it was fine because it's sort of like what's the over TMS Johnson? We're not trying to put.
Yeah.
It has a not.
I can't remember the name.
Anyway,
Yeah.
his dad.
It has
Yeah.
a not.
Yep.
So it was all like it was all related.
Yep. For sure.
It has a
Well,
not.
I referenced projects in Canada, and I was about to say, well, it's not relevant to any of you guys. You got 2 states between you, but I suppose it might be relevant for you.
No,
No, you don't. You don't have any like Winnipeg projects or anything? Oh, okay.
well, with how many contractors that go up there?
Oh, that's fair.
I mean, most of what I do in where I'm at was still under Division 23. So some we can't
Yeah.
pretend what we are trying to do our service side, our maintenance side. I do a lot of time inspect control work. We'll try and bring more like with like dust. Yeah, but we do all of our. So that's really fun. Northwest. They're all similar.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then there's a
Yeah.
embassy suites, which I was going to stay there, but they want to more. It's actually you were at
I'll probably spend a year. I'm just like every week. These are like, right, so that's right. So like Ross,
some of these kids don't.
like we're in the Ross business too, but you can some of this out of town stuff shit. Not good to hard.
Oh yeah. Sometimes also works.
Well, actually, we got the guy out west. He always negotiates, so he'll usually give us a drop about $30 a night because he'll tell more expenses. So he gets better, which is fine.
No, that helps.
At one time, I think Scott's called. I'm almost didn't get a room. I haven't come like, it's a random Wednesday in the row. Tell me, where do you be?
You just never know.
Yeah, I was like,
You would think.
I was like, I'll be no big deal.
Yeah.
The guy's like, you better call me. Like, yeah, we're pretty much almost full. Shit.
Yeah, I've had that like in them places with houses was the first like I'm trying to get in there for it. And how is the one on? And they're like it's some random time.
Well, anymore if I go, so we're in the cook lot, we're like stuff, but I just call and see if they're doing, because it ain't even worth trying to show up out there and think you're gonna get one. Yeah, it's not you. I go, it's 2 weeks. But it's so, I don't know if it gets it like the cops of shit, it seems to work, like for us, I would feel sense, I killed 2 account, remember, on service for it. I just keep them, and go, well, we could change.
Not sure that. I wonder if the stuff I have to get out this day.
Well, everything else just kind of fits.
There we go.
Get her in.
There we go.
The building side, but they.
It has a not.
So if we can use the house, we know that 8,000 style.
It's fine.
It's board. No, but that's fine.
Yeah.
It's just.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's actually a good thing.
When I thought last time,
That's our valuing this.
So with this,
they used
out. So people,
and I tried to base.
so it's like that's like they not swing. I'm just trying to get it. Like at 8 games, you guys have it there. Anyway, been doing past the missing gear off. Yeah, like there's parts of the state that just totally aren't flat. Or anyway, except like I was up in Yellowstone.
Yep.
And there was that highway that was Nelson now chipping out, which is the reservation.
Yep.
Capital.
Yep.
as you certify.
And there's a highway. Oh, this is the most beautiful road out there.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's ATL port. Curvy. It's so
It's incredible. That
Yeah. And then you get Newtown. It's like got to the switch. Like you're in the prairie now.
yeah, it just
It's
is
nothing.
Yeah, I I remember when we took my brother up to Grand Forks.
Yeah.
First time, and literally just you're just like I don't see any hills. I see nothing. But then you're driving
The
west.
glaciers has gotten rid of
Yeah.
all of it because it's an ancient lake bed.
Yeah, Lake
I'm
Agassiz.
from western North Dakota.
Okay,
And I thought that
the
was
cool parts. Yeah,
Well, yeah, I thought that was cool.
yeah. And then you went over to Fargo, and
I went to
it's
school in Fargo.
mind numbing. Did you go to NDSU?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay, nice.
Then I lived in the city for like 7 years. I lived in Fargo.
Nice.
Yeah. So no, it's
actually
yeah. I like Fargo.
Good.
Yeah, Fargo's cool. It's fine.
Two cities from out there over there.
Yeah,
Fargo and Russell.
yep. Yeah. Yep.
Beyond that, I'm probably going to go overhead someday.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, Morehead's cool too.
that is
Morehead is cool too.
yeah.
Yeah,
We just did their high school that had like
That
almost
was-
$800,000. You just go into controls.
wow,
And a big
nice,
That's a good job.
nice. Did you do the Cullen Ice Arena?
Yuri.
Did you do their hockey range? They've got a beautiful new arena in Morehead.
Yeah, that was like 2 units at a time.
I did a good job with that.
We did the rest of the school. There wasn't
Okay.
just much for
Yeah,
and I don't know. I'm probably going to get that because we're in the rest of the school.
yeah.
But I haven't got a contract.
Yeah. No, it's
But funny things like, hey, you get 6 job books finished yesterday.
just
And it screwed me over because I had.
did you just shoot down 29? You just drive down or
Yeah.
just drive?
Yeah, 20. I mean, not yesterday. Sorry, the day before.
Yeah.
Because I drove down.
Yeah.
So I had to get 6 jobs out. Mainly because last week I thought border crossing international fall was due this week.
Okay.
Last grid.
And so, like, I would work my ass.
It has
Yeah.
a ni-
One
it has a ni- it has a ni-
Oh, so it's actually a pretty big one they're building. Oh, in I Falls.
It is the most elaborate control system I've ever seen. It's basically 4 buildings,
Wow.
4 separate projects.
Wow. The border crossing I usually go to is Grand Portage
Yeah.
along the shore,
I mean, if I ever,
and it's
it's still Winnipeg.
yeah. You go up to Peg, yeah. I used to go to Peg pretty frequently. Like when my brother lived in Grand Forks.
I've only been there a handful of times.
But
Because it's still a 4-hour drive to get to Canada. from
Yeah.
Fargo.
yeah. If I guess from Fargo, for me, where my cabin is, it's I'm 6 of one, half dozen of the other between Duluth and Thunder Bay.
Yeah.
So, and I a lot of times I'll go up to Thunder Bay, or well, pre tariff changes, you'd go up to Thunder Bay and it'd actually get lumber and stuff for cheaper.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're just buying 15 or 20 2x4s, the border patrol doesn't care. It didn't do now. Didn't, but they do now. But the other thing was something I learned from apparently the car dealerships in Thunder Bay. They use American pricing but charge in Canadian dollars, or at least previously did. Right? I think they've changed. And so folks in Cook County, Grand Marais, Tofty, Lutzen area, they'd go up there to have their vehicles serviced instead of going to Duluth, because you'd get the exchange rate. Right? If the exchange rate was 80 cents on the dollar or whatever, right? You go up there, you pay $80 instead of $100 to get your oil changed. That sort of thing. Like, hey, it's pretty sweet, but no, the last couple of years
has a ni-
not as chill as it used to be. The Mounties are still just as chill. They're cool. You go into Thunder Bay, you cross the border over there, like, hey, bud, it's easy peasy coming back. You gotta be.
It's money up there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's a year ago now. Last year, in April, I went up. There was a hiking trail that I wanted to do, literally on the border, the Canadian side of the High Falls, right in Grand Portage Park. And I actually forgot my passport, right? And I guess that would have been 2 years ago now at this point, because it was before I got the border crossing driver's license, right? And I was like, I'm literally just going right there. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, like
I literally just got my passport expired and
yeah,
were me and my kids, my wife's.
yeah, okay,
Sometime.
Yeah.
Don't know when.
yeah. You're driving, not flying. You flying?
Yeah.
Oh, then you gotta have your passport.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why I have.
Oh, okay. Oh, you got, okay. I was going to say, because I,
Literally got this.
oh, was that the passport card? Not
Yeah.
the, okay.
Like a
Oh, okay. Yeah.
fly, you still need your passport.
Yeah. Yep. To fly or by boat.
Yeah. And
Right?
most of Minnesota, their glass will under.
Yeah, that's the border crossing enhanced license. Makes it so easy. I don't actually have to remember my passport or anything. And I can just,
Yeah, my
Boop.
son has one of those. I didn't know that was a
yeah, works great.
So I think good.
Yeah, you do need to do it. You got to have a whole bunch of different forms of ID. It's actually more forms of ID for that than for a passport. Yeah, and a passport doesn't qualify as one of them, right? That's the first time I went to do it. 10 years ago at this point when they first introduced it. I went and I thought I brought all the paperwork, but I needed to bring a tax return that had been mailed to me from the IRS. So it had both my tax information, or all three, my tax information, my social security number, and my address. Yeah. There was something.
That
I know. So it's, but there's other things that qualify too, but that was the one that I needed.
they only offer that in like 4 or 5 states.
Yeah. I'm surprised North Dakota doesn't. I know border states do.
Because that would require
That would require administration.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Literally, my dad says, how did call shit funded? This last chance for him in the show $600
Yeah.
in my return.
Yeah.
It's like,
It has a nut.
which I mean, I don't mind him doing the point stuff actually gets done with them.
Uh-huh.
I'll be able to. I do.
You still don't like it much.
But in here,
Uh-huh.
like my wife's, I'm Minnesota, I'm in Minnesota, so he's like, what's really worse?
Yeah. You want an example of Look, North Dakota roads aren't too bad, are they?
It has a nut.
That's the one
The
thing
interstates
for us
because the interstates are.
in the cities, our roads are great. And then you cross over the border into Wisconsin, you're like, this is terrible.
It has a nut.
Uh-huh.
City roads.
Uh-huh.
Like Fargo's is good. Because
Yeah.
Fargo's no tax is big.
Yeah.
But like you get in a back road somewhere, it's like, oh man, this has been patched over.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, sweet. We'll get going here in just a minute.
It has a nut. 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 It has a nut.
I don't know that on me sound.
Oh yeah, it's shooting down 29.
Well, it just said stuff was green,
Yeah.
right? But
Did you get the slight gradient from just complete brown to slight green? That's what I noticed when I got here. I was like, oh, slight green. Nice. Nice. Nice.
winter wheat salt and South Dakota is weird because there's like Watertown,
Yeah.
Brookings, and Sioux Falls, and that is it on the interstate.
Yeah.
Everything else is like 10 miles off the road.
Mhm.
If you want to like stop and get gas or something, so you got to stop at one of those three. That's it. I guess, and then Sioux City.
Okay, so you live here, right, Fargo? So you get it, right? I talked to the guy who used to come, and I said, "I got there that authenticator when you were
Return to South Dakota.
Yeah.
Authentication.
Because how far down is it? It's about 8 hours.
The MQTT driver has the same type of setup.
Yep, it does.
It says I'm going to go to 4.5 hours.
I lose my authentication if I need to change. I'm going to change the guy. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Serves whatever. Like, it becomes read-only once. What if I
And I'll see
I'll change that C or S. Okay, change it.
Yeah.
Reading it
Yeah.
and then adding it. Is there any?
but
I don't know. The MQTT driver is one that,
never been in the fiddle.
at least my impression of it, has always been, it was created as a,
Across the Missouri River.
I don't want to say a patch, right? But like hey, yeah, well, not even necessarily half-baked, like hey, this is a thing that's out there. We're going in another direction, right? This Cloud Suite stuff and you'll see the APIs here that I'm going to dig into, that it eliminates the need for all the MQTT stuff. And it is Dude, it is so easy. It's unbelievable.
Well, you're reading from power.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if you're reading, so then you're inbound on the MQTT. It's one of those things that like it's there for it, right? But doesn't necessarily have a lot of development effort behind it. We created it. It's there. You can use it. Yeah, exactly. Right. Like if you need it, you need it. It's what it is. But I don't know if there's a plan to change that portion. 'Cause I know what you mean. Like if it changes there, well, oh, shit, I know I got it.
I just didn't know if there was something I didn't realize in the background, like disabling something to make it not read.
I don't-
be more or like.
I don't think so. Maybe, but I don't think so.
I've pretty much tried everything. I can.
Okay.
Up in the station
Yeah.
and just it's like I
All right. Sweet.
It has a
All but one are back in here, so let's dig back in. We are going to start with remote. So remote's pretty sweet. All of you guys are, I'm assuming all of you are pretty familiar with what a station looks like when you connect to it locally in a browser, right? Remote is exactly the same, right? So that's where when I emphasized the see, that's how I get around the hardening guide. I don't have an admin user. It's lab admin. Big brain. Yeah. When I emphasize the UX builder being added on, right? That really is kind of the last piece of being able to do remote engineering and station work, is being able to do graphics, right? We have relations manager, we have web wire sheet. What are the limitations? They're the platform level limitations. So you can't do provisioning, right? That's a platform level thing, right? That kind of thing. Sure. Okay. That is coming, right? With Niagara 5, we're going to have platform level access via remote. So that's coming, but for the most part, you can pretty much do everything you're going to need to do via Niagara Remote now because it's in the browser, right? And so you can do this work. If a customer calls you and you go out and you don't really want to fire up your computer and go through modifying your IP address locally and all that kind of rigmarole to be able to and then fire up Workbench and start the daemon, all that stuff. You can sit down at their PC and edit graphics and stuff like that through the browser now.
So I just ran into the other day, program service through the web. That does not work, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yes. So let's take a look here, and when I point that out, if you take a look at the ORD path here, is your UUID. So this is the device ID. Sweet.
Let's undo what you want. And
Okay.
sort this out.
So this is the UUID, right? So if we go over in here, the cloud service, and we go to the cloud ID manager. Cloud ID manager? No, I clicked on the wrong thing. Let's go in here. There we go. There we go. RPK Authenticator. There it is. Okay. So here's all your various ID portions, things along those lines. RPK Authenticator is disabled here now. In the channels and IDs, this is where you can find all these details. We go over here, just like you would find the IP address, right? Or the URL if you're using DHCP, right? You'd find that there, and then the ORD path, this is exactly the same, right? So then from there over, now the ORD path. That's where that differentiation is. So this is saying this device, remote.niagara-cloud.com, and then the ORD path. Now we're in, and this is exactly the same user experience as being connected locally via a browser, right? So if I want to go in and edit the graphic, there. Now this opens the UX builder, right? It looks a little different than PX Editor does in Workbench, But this is a direct corollary to if you think of the property sheet compared to the AX property sheet, right? This is the HTML5 rendering as opposed to the Java, right?
It has
So
a
you can go in and edit things along those lines, just like that, and then if you make any changes, there's a save button, and then go out of the editor that way, right there.
And that's all you're thinking that goes 5?
No, this is 415. This is 415 and newer. So this is a live site now. I don't have any stations running 5 yet. I've got it on my computer, but there's not much you can do with it yet. I've got the tool, but I don't have any bolts to turn the tool to turn with the wrench, kind of thing, right? Yeah. So that's the UX builder. Any tool, right? Just like we were to go into the drivers, and we can go to the web wire sheet. We can open our palettes, right? Just the same. This is all just the same as it is if you're connected locally. You just through a browser. So now you're able to do this remotely, right? If you have a customer call on a Saturday, and they're saying, "Hey, we're getting complaints from our factory floor that it's warm," or something seems wrong. You don't necessarily need to, leave your kid's baseball game and jump in your truck and drive over there. You can pull it up on your phone, or you can pull it up on your laptop, take a look, and say, "Well, yeah, somebody overrode the pump," and release it from there. So that, these are kind of the values of being able to connect remotely. Now, connecting remotely, Larry kind of mentioned this with VPNs and the like. A lot of customers, a lot of sites have VPNs already. You talk to their IT teams, they're typically not enthused about having external user accounts on them, right? Or needing to maintain, and then you've got to have Citrix on your computer, and then you fire up Citrix, or you fire up whatever VPN client you're using and connect to it, and then you remote into a supervisor or into a laptop or a PC on site. That's a pain in the neck, right? It's just more steps. This is much, much simpler to set up, because all we did was we onboarded it. It has that subscription, and now you're off and running, and it's connected. And you have the access, right? And now this is through any web-enabled device, any browser, right? So you can do it from your phone. You're visiting your sister in another state. You didn't bring your laptop with. You can jump on her computer and log into Niagara-cloud.com. Use your phone as your multi-factor authentication, and it's all secure, and you're able to see it, right? That's kind of the beauty of this, is the simplicity and the flexibility of it. I'm like I mentioned, I'm pretty sure you're all familiar with using the browser to connect to stations, and this is amazingly simple. In that, do you have any questions about remote?
All
right, sweet.
So
let's go through here. So one note I do want to say here with remote is that you'll want to make sure that host header validation is enabled. What that does is that allows that basically is a proof. You can run into a block, right, of it. Host header validation, it's going to show up in your security dashboard, and then also in the web service is where it'll go and be set, right? So we go over to services, we go to web service. Your host header validation is right down here. So what these are is these are all the different sites or URLs, right? That host header that you'll want and need for it to be included to accept it. So that's my local PC, right? This is one of the UUIDs of a previous install. right? So that's where you'll want that set. That doesn't set by default.
It has
In all versions. I think it started setting by default in 415 U2, I think. Either U2 or U3. It started setting by default, but if you were at a 415 or a 414, right? Because 414 is still a supported version, even though 415 is the LTS. 414 is still a supported version until 5.0 comes out. That just popped in my head. We didn't mention that earlier. If you have, I'll just quick aside, if you have any 8000s that use Wi-Fi, they can't go to 415 and use Wi-Fi. An 8000 can go to 415, but you'll need to disable the Wi-Fi connection on it in order to do that. So 414 is still supported. That is going to end at the release of 5, though. If you haven't heard that yet, and it is a very small user group that makes use of the Wi-Fi on the 8000, but it's if you use it, that's because it's the only thing that worked for you. So I want to make sure I say that out loud. You hear that? If you're using it, get your migration done to the 9000. Because then on the 9000, Wi-Fi is supported, 415 and on. So, okay. So you've seen the host header validation. You've seen how it looks. I mean, like I said, it's a station through a browser. You guys should all be familiar with what you can do and what it's capable of.
It has a
And with that, FoxC. This is a big one. FoxC is going to facilitate Niagara network connections over the cloud. So that means that if you have a central supervisor and then a bunch of stations and disparate locales, right? You're not going to need to get firewall exceptions from the IT team or firewall rules set up in order to make those connections from site to site. If that if the subsidiary station can get out on 443, right, and has the remote connection, has the remote subscription, now it can connect to that supervisor that's at the top. So it's really lowering the bar of entry to get remote sites. You can also, like I mentioned earlier, this will facilitate cloud supervisors, so you can stand up a supervisor in a cloud instance and then bring all the stations underneath from there. Beyond that, you can do, like you're using Niagara Network within a network, going from station to station. You can use this to go station to station across geography, right? So that connection is happening up through the cloud and going that way. There will be a bunch of discussion around this at the summit and then subsequently from the summit. So whether you're going or not, week after next is really when you'll start seeing this being discussed. This enters beta next week. Is when this enters beta. Starting on the 31st is when we're planning on doing that. So just 5 days away. If you would like to get in on that, if you want to give it a go, talk to the Controls Depot guys, and we'll get you. Because I think we're still looking for beta participants on it. So if that's something that interests you, let us know, and we can make that connection for you and get you in on it. I just added this slide last night because I wanted to make sure I mentioned this to you guys. It's pretty sweet. This is just like Remote was a pretty exciting feature addition, right? This is too. This can really open up some possibilities for you because Niagara Networks, I'm sure, as you guys all know, it's a wonderful ability. It's much easier to do within the same local area network, right? Within the same LAN. It gets more involved when you start going across geographies. And now this makes it super easy. It's configured, it's set up in the portal. The connection is established in the portal. And then the managing of it can be done through either a portal or in Workbench, just in your Niagara Network manager view. Okay. So now we're into the meat of it, right? Getting into the data models. All right. So, into the data service. So the data service creates a data model. Do any of you make use of tagging, haystack or brick or anything like that?
We're trying to.
You're trying to? Okay, great. So you're familiar with models then. Part of this is when you tag things, you're creating a model, is what you're creating. And the data service, when that connection is established and then the model is uploaded, it's pulling all of those tags. So the better your tagging is, the better your model is going to be, and the more refined you can make your searches and things in the cloud and through the cloud, right? So it automatically creates Niagara Cloud IDs. I'll go through some of the different types here shortly. The better your tagging, the better your queries and your modeling and things like that can be. The Niagara Cloud Smart Tag Dictionary happens automatically, right? The NC Cloud ID and NC Telemetry ID tags are automatically assigned to the applicable drivers and devices, point and history. So when we onboarded the station, part of what was happening in the background was it was applying an NC Cloud ID tag to everything in the station, right? Every little ORD in the station now has an NC Cloud ID tag, and then any history in the station has an NC Niagara Cloud Telemetry ID tag. So the telemetry model is histories, and then the NC Cloud ID models is everything. And so that means that in our cloud instance now, it can kind of see, if you've heard the terms digital twin or data lake, right? The digital twin is what the model is. That's what's being created through that. If you want things to be excluded, then you need to include the NC excluded marker tag. So if you have multiple histories, right, and a supervisor, if there's a customer who wants to see 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, and hour and 1 and 60-minute histories, right? Obviously, you don't need to upload all of those to the cloud, right? So in that case, you would apply the NC excluded tag on those histories. Part of the nature of 4-hour class is that some things don't get included in it, but I'm going to mention the history uploads don't happen automatically. If we have a little time at the end, maybe I'll go in and kind of show you guys how that works. The auto export is part of it. So when you onboard the station, the history exports don't start automatically. You have to go in and say, hey, I want this history and this history and this history included. And then you can also at that point add the excluded tags onto histories as well. And then you enable it and it starts pulling it up, right? Histories in stations, obviously, we all know can get massive, right? So it is intentionally disabled from the start, and you go in and enable it. And then the Niagara Cloud model includes relations and tags from the tag dictionaries. So if you have Niagara tags, if you have haystack tags, if you have brick tags, those are going to get pulled into the cloud model as well. So that's where I was saying the better your tagging, the better your model is going to be. That's included automatically with it.
That history export, people use the system tags, kind of like to do with export tags to get that.
Yep. Okay, so the Cloud ID Manager, so this works in conjunction with the model channel. invoking the execute action applies the direct Niagara cloud tags, right? So that's what I was just mentioning.
It has
And the default execution time on this is manual. So if you make substantial changes to your station, right? If you add devices, if you exclude device, delete devices, stuff like that, you're going to want to go in and execute this in the Cloud ID Manager. You're going to want to go fire it off. You can set that to an interval or a daily, just like the Recover configuration as well. You can kind of see that there too.
It has a nut.
Okay.
It has a nut. 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 It has a nut.
Let's take a look at that quick while we're at it.
It has a nut.
Over to there.
It has a nut.
We go to the model channel.
It has a nut. 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 It has a nut.
And here's your Cloud ID export. Now, we just onboarded this device, so it hasn't happened yet, right? I can go and I can execute this now. Okay, so it ran into an exception.
It has a nut. 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 It has a nut.
So we've got some sort of a network issue here. We're not going to bother going with this is most likely just related to my local machine, right? Because I'm running a dummy station here. If you were running it on a Jace, on a supervisor, this would be a little bit more of a detailed failure reason, at which point we could go and chase it down. But if we were to go over to this guy here,
it has a nut. It has a nut.
Let's go to the services.
It has a nut.
The palette. We don't need that open. To the Niagara Cloud Service. To the channels.
It has a nut. It has a nut.
To the model here.
It has a nut.
I don't want the wire sheet. I want the property sheet.
It has a nut.
If it happens, straight on. What's your get?
There. So now we can see where this is obviously in a station then that has been used more, right? The last time it was pushed was, the last success was January 26th. Apparently it failed earlier It has been a year ago. Was the last time it failed. And we can
It has a nut. It has a nut.
This here. Let's see what it shows.
It has a nut. It has a nut. It has a nut.
There is some maintenance happening on the forge side right now, so we might get a failure here. I know to this week there's some maintenance happening. So
it has a nut. It has a nut.
Last attempt. Okay, so it's still working away here now.
It has a nut. It has a nut.
Okay.
It has a nut.
Go back over here.
It has a nut. It has a nut.
So
it has
on the tags. So we've talked about tags some here.
It has a nut. It has a nut.
I want to show you where those are located, right? So if we go and we take a look at, let's look at the BACnet network. Let's look at one of the thermostats in my basement.
It has a nut. 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 It has a nut.
You go in here and you can see the NC Cloud ID. So that tag is going to be on everything, right? And if we expand it out to the points on the space temperature, you'll see there is the NC Cloud ID and then the NC Telemetry ID tag. And that is there because there is the history here.
It has a nut. It has a nut.
Does that make sense?
That's telemetry ID tag unique for every.
Yep, for every history. Yep. So if I had multiple histories, there'd be. Yeah, I need it up here.
Yes.
No, we elected. I was with it.
It has a nut. 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 It has a nut.
No.
it has a nut, 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 it has a nut,
Well,
it has a nut, it has a nut.
Oh, that's easy. Can't go wrong with a French dip.
It has a nut, it has a nut, it has a nut,
Here you go, Sash.
it has a nut,
yeah, that's
All right.
it has a nut, it has a
So
nut,
everything,
it has a nut, 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 it has a nut.
every history is going to have an NC telemetry ID tag, right? Now you can see I also have Haystack 4 tags on these as well. So on this point, there's an air, there's an RTU, and there's a space tag, right? This isn't the class to dive into tagging, but hopefully you guys are all at least baseline familiar with that. So from there, take a look at, that's kind of how the model gets built out, and now it's residing up in the portal. In a little bit here, I'm going to open the histories in the portal and kind of show you where you can make those tag or make those charts, the chart builder in the portal, report builder, stuff like that, and then also export it to a third-party dashboarding service. I use Grafana. We'll take a look at that in a minute.
visual aids to
Yeah.
Metadata and stuff all go up with those.
Yep. It all goes up with it. So, from the history chain. So this is the exports that are set up. If we go over to from the history channel, this down. This is where I was telling you that it is disabled from the start. What we're going to do in here then is, if we go to where is it? From the okay. Cloud History Export Manager. This is where you go in and you tell it, hey, this is what I want to include, this is what I don't want. And then that's going to set your tags. And then when you go in and you set that other view we were just looking at there, when you set that guy to enabled, then it's going to push everything up, right? So here's where you set enabled, set your execution time. How frequently is this going to update the cloud? The history stored in the cloud. When we go in here, we can discover any histories. I don't think there's no histories in this station, right? So from the workbench, we're not going to see them here, but from here, we could go in and we could services from the cloud service channels, history. Right, Cloud History Export Manager. Now we can discover, and we're going to see the histories that are in that station. We can add them. We'd be able to add them to the export, and then push it from there. This is true, right? So these points are being exported up in, and we'll take a look at that here now.
What is backfill?
Okay, so backfill. This is actually kind of an important one that we'll discuss. So backfill is if there was a point where it was disconnected, right, where the cloud was down or you didn't have an outbound connection, right? If your internet connection went down for a while and those history records were saved locally in the station, when it exports out, it checks to see, hey, are there any gaps in the data? And then it'll go in and backfill that data so that the cloud history shows the full record as opposed to having gaps in it. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay, sweet.
Is there any indication that history that the internet was down and that was backfilled data to the cloud?
I don't think so. All right, here. So we were away from it for long enough. Get this guy from the. Now this is where we were talking about. Click on cloud, and now from the yeah from the and we are connected. Okay. From the you'll notice I was able to maintain my connection to the station via remote. We were active enough in there, but actually in the portal I did get auto logged out for lack of use or lack of activity. From that, those two are not tied. Once you establish that remote connection, when you're connected there, you may get bounced from the portal. But it's not going to bounce you from your local connection until your auto logout time that's configured there for the user. Okay. So let's go here, take a look at the data service. So when you click on the data service, it automatically opens the history chart builder in the portal, right? So I'll go back here one more time. Minnesota Labs, as we didn't quite go over this is these buttons here, data service, remote, and recover. That's how you navigate through. And then up here is the alarms. This is the alarms for all of the devices within your user that you have access to, right? So if I click there, now this alarms, we're going to dive more into this in a little bit here, but while we're talking, I figure I'd show you. That's all of them, right? So if I go here and I look, devices, it's set to all devices, right? Back over here. From Minnesota Labs. If I click on Minneapolis Lab at alarms, now it's specific for that station, right? Back here, click on Minnesota Labs and click Data Services. Now this is the histories, not the alarms, for this specific site. Now it's going to go up. Initially, it's saying point not selected. Okay, right? I haven't picked what I want to chart here and what the time frame is. One of the benefits of the cloud portal is that you can, like in a supervisor, you can make charts and reports across stations, right? So I can compare what the room temp is at my lab in Minneapolis with, let's say a lab in like Richmond, right? If I wanted to go look at what, compare it with a temp here, right, or outdoor temperature, whatever, right? I can build out this chart, and it'll. Well, apparently that one doesn't have any data on it. Let's see if this one has. No. All right, sure. But you know what I mean, right? It'll build out, and this is across stations. Across stations, you can build out to the same, and then you can save that report. That'll save it within the cloud portal that you can then go back, right? So it's saving to the cloud. It's not saving locally to your machine. You can go back and check it there later. And then also you can export it. You can export it as history to PDF, or you can export it to CSV, right?
So if I've got 10 clients and they're all put next to the cloud,
Yep.
I can see all of
Yep.
them. And I've got secure remote access to all of them.
Yep. Exactly. So this export, right? This all is just it functions a lot like the chart builder in Workbench. You can export it to history chart to PDF. You can export it to CSVs. You can save it locally, just like you can save something to a station. You can save a report to a station. You can save this to the cloud.
If you built your chart with 2 or 3 points on it,
Yep.
click your save,
Yep.
and there's going to be a files area or something you can recall that chart.
Right there. Right. All right. Sorry, I clicked on saved exports, not saved reports. So now here's all the reports that have been saved. Virginia versus California. Right? There, Kyle built this one. Let's see what it year to date. He probably built this last year. Right. Here's a report example that I built last year for another PCI. Right.
And so if you were pulling up Kyle's, this is not user specific. This is site specific.
So this is this is customer specific, right? So I have access to my user has access to all of those reports, right? If I was logged in as a customer, right, as with a more limited allowances or permissions, then I would only be seeing the reports that have been saved that I have access to. Right? Just like I would only be seeing the devices and stations that I have access to. So, let's go over here. Okay, so this is where we talked about you're discovering and then you're bringing in your histories that you want exported to be included up there. And then here we are in just simple charting view. You can save the reports however you want, right? You'll notice that that saved report that I went to for here, right? This is automatically month to date, right? That's how it was saved as. And it's showing the current month to date, right? So if you know, hey, on the 26th of every month, I go and I check month to date, and then I export it out, or, the last day of the month, right? You can have that report set as month to date. You go check it, it's going to show it your most recent month to date, right? I'll do that one more time here. You'll notice this is for March of 2026. I created this in August of 2025, right? Month to date, and then I can export it, right? And then you can save it off however you want. So that's kind of a nice tool. You can set up a repeated report that you pull, and then look at it, view it in the portal, and then export it as you will. Let's go back over here. Let's go back here. I suppose I should ask, do any of you guys have any questions about the history recording, reporting, exporting, anything like that? It should be straightforward. That's kind of the beauty of the Niagara Cloud Suite. There's been a lot of thought and intention put in to making it act like our customers and our users expect, right? The Niagara Cloud, or the Niagara Framework, has, I think at this point, 1.6 or maybe even up to nearly 2 million instances out in the world. There are a lot of users. There's a lot of you guys, right? The technicians, the engineers, the programmers that build it and install it in the SIs, right? There's a lot. So if we were to try and introduce something that was totally new, that wouldn't be a very good choice. You know what I mean? We want this to feel familiar to you. By its nature, it's going to need to be slightly different, right? We can't build out Workbench exactly in a web browser. It's not going to work, right? Things need to be rendered differently. There needs to be additional security measures, things along those lines, right? But we want it to really having the design ethos, right? The engineering ideals are the same, where it's hierarchical, it's expandable, it's scalable, right? And you'll know, the button might look different, but you'll know what it is that you're trying to go and see. Your exports, your saved reports, things like that, your user management, that kind of thing. So with that, let's take a look at alarm management. I already kind of referenced it a little bit. The alarms channel is another one of the channels under the cloud service. Here you're going to have your alarm count period and your transport information. So how frequently is it reporting up and saying these are all the alarms that I have had? It will push push immediate urgent alarms, right? This is just like the alarm service, right? You're configuring it how urgent is it, who's going to it, what's the alarm class, things along those lines. I suppose I didn't mention about the histories. The histories, this is pretty sweet. One of the things that the data service provides in regards to histories is it acts as an archive history provider. So starting in 4.11, I think it was either 4.10 or it was 4.11. There was a new feature called Archive History Provider that you had to configure and set up, and then you could have it set to send histories off to a repository, and then when you built out a chart, it would pull them back, right? So you could offload your history load, your memory needed, anything like that, because again, we all know on a big supervisor or on a big server, or even on an 8,000, on a Jace, you can start running into memory issues if you have too fine of resolution or too long held of recorded points and histories. The Niagara Data Service acts as a cloud history provider. So what that means is I can go and I can have it set to record 10 days, hold 10 days of in every 15 minutes. That's 96 a day. So say, hey, hold 960 records, maybe make it 1,000 records for a little bit of a fudge factor, right? But if I open Chart Builder in Workbench or an export builder, report builder, I can tell it, give me the last year. And what's going to happen is if that station is connected to Niagara Data Service, that station is automatically, you don't have to configure anything, right? As long as those histories are being reported up to the cloud and it's connected, the station via Workbench or via the portal, the data service portal, is going to go and grab all of those and send them to you, right? So you don't need to worry about that hitting, right? Kind of show you as an example and we're going to look at this more. I'll kind of show you as an example here. This is how many records I have set to hold in the station, right? And I intentionally have this because I want to use this as an example. I intentionally have this pulling from the station and not from the chart builder or the history builder where it would backfill the data. So there are 2 days, basically, of this is like every minute record. I have this pulling really, really tight resolution, and it's offloading off of there, right? This is the space temp for room 1 space temp, right? So if I were to go to here, and I was to go to my history builder,
comes time.
and built out a chart, I can go, so there's today, right? And if I go last 7 days, in theory, this should not backfill. This should cap off just like it does on this dashboard, right? But what's happening here is that archive provider is pulling from the data service and pulling it back down and backfilling that data, right? I can do that. I can go year to date, and now this is going to backfill. It's taking a moment to think. It's going in. It's grabbing it by chunks, and then there's a little bit of there's a bit of time where I had my station restructured, and there's a gap in the data. So not translate. What's the word I'm looking for? Not transliterates, but whatever. It backfills the data. It draws the straight line. There's a break in the records here, but it goes back and it grabs it from the data service and then fills it in. Even though locally, this is only keeping a couple of days at a time.
So if I'm trying to sell this to a customer,
Yep.
it's all just another benefit of
Yeah.
the cloud. Is they want to connect. Like we can set up your trends
Yep.
on your Jace
Yep.
to collect for 2 days.
And then offload.
Just like I have to worry to know this.
That is exactly it. That is exactly it, right? You know, and I don't know if you guys do like hospital work, anything like that. When I was a contractor, I did a lot of hospital work, and the Minnesota Department of Health, their stipulations are when their inspectors come, they tell you what 2 weeks. So 5 business days each week. So 10 business day period that the inspector can show up and say, I need to see your records from this week within the last 7 years. That's kind of what the requirements are, right? They need to be able to on demand pull up temperature records, pull up room conditions for operating rooms, things like that, within the last 7 years at any point, right? And so what this provides, the supervisors that I built out, we had to have these, massive memory banks, right? Because we had to keep all of that and locally and being able to go grab. What this allows for is you don't need it. Keep a week at a time, right? Keep whatever portion you want at a time, and then this cloud provider is there, and you can just go say, hey, I need that week. And all right, and it goes and grabs it, and it's seamless. I mean, like I was just showing you guys here, it doesn't feel any different than if it was supplied locally. And I mean, frankly, it actually feels a little faster, right? Because you start building out those big servers, right? Those big hard drives with all those records, and it takes a little bit of time for the machine to filter all through it. Doing it through the cloud, you're saying, hey, I want this specific. It's already there, and it goes and grabs it, pulls it down, and it's pretty seamless. Yeah.
And this is all sitting in the secure data.
Oh yeah. This is all sitting super secure. Larry mentioned it, right? You guys obviously know this. We're secure by default is our kind of ethos and model, right? We take this extremely seriously. All the government 3-letter agencies have standardized on Niagara for a reason, because if you build it well, it's as secure as anything. And the cloud is built with the same ideas. It's all encrypted. It's all on very secure, very available data clouds, right? And server farms. It's there for you.
So it beats all the cloud requirements.
Oh yeah. There's stuff available. It's all SOC 2 or whatever the term is. There's all that stuff. That we can hit you.
And if you're working heavy list, you're lucky.
Yeah.
From this list that works with this guy. He stays on top of all that. So I have a bunch of, if I don't have it,
Because we are doing at least one border crossing. We fed it our
Okay.
as we've done federal projects, but shipped fairly far into it.
Okay.
All Buy America, federal qualifications, all that stuff, just let me know. I got.
Yeah, I'll take your card. It was a fairly open Buy America Act requirement, like literally like Canada, Mexico, and most of Europe was okay.
And even now, J9000s are being built in Mexico. We moved them over here as well recently, just so, mostly for supply chain issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, just I'll take your card.
Yeah, but anybody, and it, they know how to get a hold of me here too, so just let us know, get a hold of them, they'll get a hold of me.
I'm still waiting for them to go ahead.
And then they'll say,
big change order.
they'll say, we need this form, and then I'll get the ring down. Or I'll get a number of forms that are close enough that usually go, oh yeah, that's fine, it's better than we have. Well, sure. I've had pretty good luck with all that.
Okay. Good to know.
All right. So let's talk Alarm Portal quick. This is going to be not dissimilar to the History Builder portal. In the portal, it again is the same kind of design ideals as within Workbench. Go over to it and go to our alarms here. I'm going to go up to this one, and you can see where we have all the filters available. You can set, you can show and hide columns right in this. And then you can also set your filters here, right? So if I want to filter down to just some devices, let's remove the all devices tag. Let's go Minneapolis lab. Right? And then let's just go that way. It still wanted to show. Here, let's go this way. This will be even easier. Minneapolis Labs. Clicking the device here. Going to the alarms tag. By the way, Foxy, once it's available, it's just going to be another tab up here. So right next to usage metrics will be Niagara Network, and that's where you'll set up and configure it. Okay. So duration of today, there's 2 alarms, right? And this is, I just have an alarm to make sure there's always one available. when I demonstrate this, I just have a sine wave set. So it goes above the limit, and then it goes back to normal. Then it goes below the limit, and then it goes back to normal over the course of a day, right? If we were to click on these, click on the source, you're going to see your alarm details. You can expand it. Here's the alarm data. You can see what my present value, what the off normal value, high limit, low limits, all that good stuff. There's notes you can set in here, right? If you say, yeah, I know new compressor's coming, or whatever the maintenance notes would be, you can set those in here. And then you'll also see the status, you'll see the priority of it, and then the alarm activity in here as well. You can set, it's going to tell you, when it was, things along those lines. You can export these, right? So if we set up, so let me select both, I can export this. It's going to export as a CSV, a 1 line per CSV. So if I just had one device selected or one alarm selected, it would be a single line CSV with this information here. Right? I select all of it. Now I've got 2 line CSV on the export. You can also choose to acknowledge them here as well.
Cool. From the ruler sites, the cloud is not used for the alarm archive.
Yeah. So we do not. The history archive is there. There is not an alarm archive.
From the access line until it cleared?
Yeah, you access them until they're cleared. And they stay there, but it's not the sort of thing where you can build out a report like you can, and it'll go and grab it and pull it back down. That's one, key difference there. But again, alarm archive provider, hopefully, if your station is running well, is a lot smaller memory, requirement than the history is, right? Yeah. So you can go through your alarm. So you'll download it. It's going to create a CSV. You open it up and you'll see it. It'll show you the device, the source. I should say it's a 2 line because it'll have the header line too, right? So however many are included in it, the acknowledge time, all those good details are included in that, right? Okay. Does anybody have any questions? We're going to be moving over into API stuff. So it's going to be kind of stepping out of the what you're used to with Workbench, just looking a little different. Does anybody have any questions about archive history provider, about alarm details, anything like that before we dive into nerd stuff?
So your a couple of your screens there, you had your data usage 600 gigabyte.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's now was getting up close to my limit.
Yep.
Can we look and see which devices are using how much?
Yeah. So this is the usage metric for this device, right? So it is showing, and that is one thing I haven't mentioned yet. The usage metric is data egress, right? So when you're connecting to the station via remote, and you're modifying graphics, and you're changing commands, and you're doing engineering work, stuff like that, that is not considered in the usage metric. The usage metric is how much data is exported out of the station into the cloud, right? So it's the egress. So the histories as they build out, as your model builds out, all of that stuff, that is the usage metric. That's what's being metered, if you will.
Oh, I was thinking that was data storage, but this is like internet usage.
Yeah. This is the egress. This is the amount of data egress that is out. So going through and building out archive histories, right? Or using the archive history provider, that's data egress, right? Because you're going in, you're grabbing something, and you're sending it. Yeah. Yep. From the spring. Yeah, any engineering work, anything like that, that's not considered in your usage, right? Your usage is how much is being sent out, right?
So, if we have, that's one specific device.
Yep, that's just a one specific device. Yeah. From that, let's jump over into the APIs. Cap. How many of you have made use of APIs? I mean, I know you have, because you did the MQTT stuff, right? We're going to start with what an API is, right? So an API is an application programming interface, right? It is what facilitates command and control across the internet, or even data, stuff like that, right? When you log into the New York Times website or any website and you need to log in, it says, hey, do you want to use Google, right? That is a connection to Google's identity authenticator API, right? So it's connecting to an API. It's saying, hey, this person is saying they want to log in. Is this who it is? Yeah, cool, right? And it'll send back the data. That's what an API is. The Niagara Cloud Suite has 4 APIs, okay? We have the Entity Model Service API. That's the tags that get applied. We have the Data Egress API. That's the histories, alarms, stuff like that getting exported, right? That's data egress. We have the Control API. That is going to be where we go see, I should say data egress is also the telemetry, right? Controls API is going to be read-write for any points, things like that. And then the Alarms API. So the Alarms is a separate API than the others. An API is a well-defined tool, right? So this is used across the internet. Early 2000s is when they came around. It's used in social media applications, like I said, right? It's if you're, hey, who is this? What is this? Show me, even like your, if you have a weather service on your phone, that's checking an API, right? That's how that works, right? And then starting about 2010, so 16 years ago or so, it started really being used in the IoT world. So if you've ever used IFTT, the If This Then That website, or if you have smart devices, smart plugs, stuff like that in your house or in your office, that's all using API interfaces to say, hey, you specific thing, go do this. Or hey, you specific thing, what's your current state? That's what it is. Okay, so there are a few types of APIs. There's a SOAP, Simple Object Access Protocol. That's a client and server exchange. It exchanges XML data. There is RPC, client calls, a software function, and the remote server sends the output back to the client, right? And then there is the next two, which are the ones that we use for the most part, right? There is a REST API, which is a representational state transfer. I know you hear REST API, and honestly, until I wrote this lesson, I actually thought REST API literally meant it sits there until you call it, and then it goes, oh, cool, yeah, here you go, and then it goes back to sitting there. That's what I thought it was. It's not. It's an acronym. Representational state transfer. That's what a REST API is. That's the most popular one. The client and server exchange data via HTTP or HTTPS. So that's where we're over port 443, right? Which is the HTTPS port. That's the, right? It exchanges back and forth. That's where it is. And then there's WebSockets as well. WebSockets are used for, I was dragging BACnet Secure Connect earlier, kind of jokingly. I actually am a big fan of what it makes capable. That's WebSockets. We also have, you can do Niagara Network over WebSockets now too. That was a feature that came out that was kind of quiet, wasn't really talked about because it takes a little bit of work to establish that connection. But that's a way across networks you can do Niagara Network to Fox WS. That's via WebSocket, which is basically, it's not dissimilar to certificate management. You'll say, hey, this is the WebSocket or the address. Here is the certificate. Here is, it's secure, right? You have security methods that you fill out through there, and then on both sides. And now they're plugged into each other, right? It's like a web extension cord, if you think about it that way, right? So those are the types of APIs. So HTTP enables communication. It's JSON stuff. Your output is going to be looking like this. I don't want to make you guys glaze over. Like I said, I've been in your position. I understand. We don't need to dive into this, but I just want you to see it, so you kind of understand what we're looking at, right? An HTTP GET call is everything is written. From the REST API call, there is a URL, and then there's a body underneath of it that says, hey, here's all the information. An HTTP GET call is all of the information that's being called is in the URL. And a URL is limited at, I think, 93 characters or something like that, right? There's a limit to it. So in a GET call, you only have so much room to make that, right? Whereas in a REST, a POST, that data then is what you're looking for is in the body of it. I'm saying this out loud. I'm not going to dive deep into all of it. I just want you to hear these words so that if somebody brings it up later on, you'll at least have heard the words before. You know what I mean?
That's something.
Yeah, no, it certainly was. Is something I'm intent. Not all fair of us. The other 3 sales engineers do this class too. Not all of us do this part the same way, right? Because like Kyle Sardinia, he comes from a computer science background, right? James Johnson is the guru, and that dude, you ask him a question, suddenly 20 minutes later, you're learning about the history of JavaScript, right? Like which is good, right? It's good and it's valuable, right? We each have our own way. This was really helpful to me when I was learning APIs. Was start with being conversational. When in a meeting, when a web developer starts mentioning POST and GET and REST API and SOAP and all these things, you're not scribbling down, like look this up later, look this up. You've heard this. You can, I'm certainly not going to make you an expert on it, but maybe you'll get conversational. So
this might be
probably not.
So in this case, this is being that
from the
API for something else, or is this we're only getting information from an API?
So the API, you can think of the API kind of like the protocol, right? Think of it like BACnet.
Yep.
From both ends. Yeah, both ends. And the API is just how you get there, kind of thing, right?
If we have a customer, which we've never had this, who says, I want to be able to put this information on this screen for somebody else, but not access things, we could access through an API.
Yep.
Or if we need to pull in like our data, we could.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. That's exactly it. It's just the method used. Let's
say I want to go to Excel.
Yep.
And I want to pull my
Yep. Yes. Well, not from cloud APIs. That would be an API, like we were talking earlier, using the MQTT tool, right? Using the MQTT driver. From these APIs are for data out of Niagara, right? There are drivers, MQTT driver, HTTP driver, right? HTTP toolbox, right, within Niagara that you can use to configure to get data into Niagara. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's to get in. That's not the cloud suite. That's not the cloud suite or the Niagara Data Service. Yeah. Good call. Yeah.
That's actually what I'm asking.
Okay. There you go. From the.
Scary. You ever say HTTP driver?
Yeah. HTTP toolbox, I think it's called. Yeah. From the. Yeah. That's
Even me and Steven.
from the conversation. Exciting discussion. There we go. So this is, I'm going to be using this here in a moment. This is Postman. It is simply a tool, right? It's a testing tool. It's a configuration to or it's not a configuration. It's a testing tool. You can go in and check your configurations. That makes sense? But just as an example here, read one or more points is a post, right? So it's posting it. It's saying, hey, this is what I want, right? If I send it, it comes back with the results. It is checking for this specific cloud ID, right? And that is, I think it's the, that's why it didn't show up. Yeah, the cloud ID there, right? That is the cloud ID of, I think, the cooling set point, occupied cooling set point, something like that, right? So that's what it's doing. It's saying, hey, go get this. The request priority is 255, basically saying, it'd be cool if you told me, kind of thing, right? And then send back what the results are, and it'll give you this back. This is fed back as a JSON feed, right? JSON is human readable Java output, right? That's effectively what it is. It's both human and computer readable. If I were to pull a different one, right? Like find me all the points. Now this is pulling from the entity model service. It's saying find me any of the points with the exact name spacetemp. It's going to go send out, and now this is obviously a longer list, right? All of the points and then the details and the haystack tags underneath associated with it, right? So this is kind of where you can see again, you can see there's NC IDs, right? So there's Niagara Cloud Alarm, Niagara Cloud Data Type, Niagara Cloud Telemetry ID, right? So that's the history API. You'll see here, this is both human readable, kind of, right? You can read through it and say, oh, there it is. I can read what the output is, and also Java computer readable, right? Okay. So back to the lesson plan here. All right. So from the Niagara Cloud API, it supports multiple third-party access, right? So we pulled it both from Postman there. We're also looking at it from the Grafana dashboard. That's what I was showing you earlier. The API to query model, it's pulling both model, historical, and alarm data from the Niagara Cloud, right? So those are the different APIs it's pulling from, and then the control API as well. And I'm going to jump over to the Grafana dashboard here in a moment. We'll talk through what's pulling from each, and then it comes in as a JSON payload. JSON is industry standard. Everybody knows it and knows what to do with it. So if it's dashboarding, if it's FDD tools, if it's energy management tools, if it's your maintenance management, anything like that, those programs are gonna want a JSON payload is how they're gonna know what to do with it. Okay, so now when we talk authentication, obviously security is important. We can't just have an open thing out there that anybody can, run a Shodan.io query and say, hey, show me all the set points that are out there within a Niagara environment and set them all to 98. You know what I mean? Like we can't have that. So there has to be some sort of authentication. And with APIs, that's done with what are called service accounts, right? A service account, you'll see here, has a service account name, has an expiration, and then you can check the details. When you set it up, so I'm going to go over to the portal here. Timed out there. We go to service account. Let's set up a service account here, a new one. You'll see all of these. There's tons of them, right? They default to 180 days. That is the default, and that is the maximum. So that means if you're using API calls, if you are setting up a service account and you are going to an FTD or to a third-party dashboard or whatever it is that you're making use of, you are going to need every 180 days to go in and refresh it at most. That is a standard across the industry, across the world. There has to be some sort of a limitation to service accounts. We can't just have it totally open-ended, and the industry has landed on 180 days being the maximum curve.
So that's a manual process we'd have to do, or?
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's pretty simple, but yes, it is a manual process. That's a security measure that needs to be done manually. So if we're going to enter the security account name or the service account name, we're going to call this Control Depot. We're going to enter a quick description, right? We just need to have a little bit of an example there. And I can set this. So if you, one of the use cases of this, one of the really strong use cases of this is a commissioning agent, right? If you have a third-party commissioning agent you need to have, you can set this up for them. A lot of them will be using API, will be using tools that can pull in data via API, right? You say, all right, we know that you're going to be done with this project in the next month, right? You have a month of commissioning time to go through a big hospital and check everything, right? You can set this expiration for that, right? Give them a month, give them 45 days. They got a little bit of leeway on timing in case of emergencies or whatever, right? And then their API access is going to last that long, and then it'll automatically end. And you don't need to worry about, I know I've certainly been in this instance as an SI, third-party commissioning agent or service contractor comes in and, they need access to that station. You want to go in and make sure you remember to give them access as much as they need, and then also go and remove that access, right? There's all of those more things involved. This way, you can give them API access for a set amount of time, and it ends. And then you're cool, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So from here, we're going to go and we're going to tell it what does it have access to, right? So let's set it to, we'll set it to my lab, and we'll set it to here, right? So now, within this, by checking this box, it automatically checks, by the project box, it automatically checks both, or however many stations are underneath of that, right? If you leave that open, you can expand it and then just click the one, right? Similar up here, we've got 3 devices in this project. We can go and we can select 1 or 2, right? Or we can check all 3, right? From here, you're going to create the account. So now this is creating your service account. Your client ID perpetuates, right? This is the client ID in perpetuity going forward, right? You can go back and see this later on. Hey, what's the client ID, right? In the, we go up here and we go into the, let's see here. We go in here, you can see the client ID is here, but the client secret is grayed out, right? Or is hashed out, right? That's what needs to be recreated every 180 days. So you do not you do not need to create a new service account and client ID every 180 days or upon expiry, right? You go and you refresh the client secret. Now, this is the only time you have access to the client secret, right? As soon as you close this, you can't access it anymore. So that's why there's the copy button right here, right? So you're going to want to make sure you copy it and then save it off into a text file or something like that somewhere secure, because you're going to need that when you configure your Grafana dashboard, when you configure your weather dashboard, your FDD tools, whatever that is. It's going to need the client secret, right? So I'm going to copy that. Open Notepad. From the new one. Drop that in there. That's the client secret. Now we can go back and reference that if we need to, right? So now, upon expiration, right, 180 days in the future or whatever, we need to go in and recreate, to refresh. We're going to go in here and we're going to generate a new secret, right? So when I generate a new secret, now it comes out, asks me for the expiration date. We'll set it to what we want. If it had been 180 days, it'd be another 180 days, or set it however you want it. Here's your new client secret. One thing to note here, when you generate a new secret, the old one no longer works, right? So that's a way, if you've got something weird happening, right? If you're thinking, okay, maybe somebody got hacked, right? Maybe a client secret was exposed in some way, and I'm seeing some control inputs that shouldn't be there. You can go in and create a new client secret, and it's going to cut off access via that old client secret, right? So I'm going to copy it here, drop it in, and now this one is no longer valid, right? Second one is the valid client secret. That would then get put into the Postman instance here. You paste it in there, and then you're off and running. That kind of makes sense? Did you get that, or is there more? You want me to dive into that more specifically at all? It's getting a little into weeds, but it is one of the weed treks, one of the in the weed treks that you're going to need to make when you make use of it. So, let's get back over here. So we've seen the service accounts, how it works. I will say here, when you get back a good response, it was able to communicate, the API call went out, and then it came back with a valid response, you're going to get a 200 response. That means okay. If it can't be found, it's going to give you a 404, right? We've all seen 404 on browsers and the like. That's what that means. That's the JSON or the API response saying, yo, dog, I don't know what you're talking about, right? There's nothing there. So this response here is going to tell you what happened and was it successful or not.
So if someone's utilizing your API, you have to give them the folks their code.
You will create a user account for that, a service account for that instance, right?
How did the person?
So then you would send it to them.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, you would send it to them. Okay. There are specifically, this is all built on what's called OAuth, right? So OAuth authentication API documentation. We have that in our documentation library. So docs.niagara-community.com. That's where you'll go and you can get all of the info. When you need the specific details of all of that, how to walk through it, that documentation is going to show that to you. Okay. So, from the Entity Model Service API. The entity model is what is in the station, right? It kind of, if you really just think about it, like, okay, what are the entities? What are the individual objects? And how that model is built out, right? Queries to it are built on looking for, right? So if we take a look at Postman, this is an entity model service call. I'm saying, show me everything that is from a space temp, right? That has this point name. And so that response is going to be all of the things that have the space temp, right? If I go to visualization, this is going to give me, there's two of them in this station. There's the main air handler and there's air handler 1, right? This is the cloud ID. This is the name. Obviously, what station is it a part of? What's the history? And what's the telemetry ID, right? That's what the Entity Model Service API is. And then you are going to see that it's all going to be built on, this is the customer ID, right? So if we go to here, close, yep, right here, this is the customer ID. Let's go back to home here. You'll see customers and customer ID. So everything within NSB Systems Engineering is going to be tagged with this 372. When we were looking at the remote instance earlier, that was in there as well, right? That is kind of saying, hey, this is the user ID of it. The entity model is built on that user ID and then going downstream from there. That customer ID, if we're looking at Postman, in the post, that is in there, right? So it's saying, I'm going to Niagara-cloud.com, I'm looking at the API, I'm looking at the entity model API, looking at customers, and I'm looking at this customer ID. And then the call out from there. You're going to get your response back of your 200 response back. Your page parameters are in your call. This is all built into the functions of if you're making a call to a dashboarding service or an energy management service or whatever, right? This is where that all is coming from. In the background, you're seeing this marker. A size parameter, right? If you have a huge station, you might tell it, hey, give me 100 at a time. And then it's going to give you, JSON payload 1 will have 0 through 99 or 1 through 100, however you have them numbered. And JSON payload 2 will be 101 through 200, right? That way. By default, it's going to be 20. It's going to show you 20 at a time. That's just kind of a standardized thing. Your search types are going to be point name, or tag value, right? So in this instance where we're looking for the point name, you'll see the customer ID, which in our instance is 372, and then the point name, right? And that's what I'm calling there. If I was searching for show me anything with an AHU tag, then it would be tag value or tag name. Okay, and then the JSON payload, we already kind of looked at this a little bit, is going to put out, here's the point name, right, here's the name, and then here's everything underneath of it, all the details of this that we can read through and make sense of, and also the program that you're pulling it into can. So, data egress API. So now this is your telemetry, right? Telemetry being history. I don't know if any of you are F1 nerds or racing nerds in general. You'll see engineer in the pits will pull up, plug the computer in, right? And then pull all the history, all the telemetry information for what happened in this car from all the sensors. What happened, not what's happening or what's going to happen. That's kind of how I think of it, right? Make sense of what happened in the past. That is your history. So your data egress is all of your histories. That's a telemetry ID. API documentation, again, can be pulled from our docs library. And your API call is going to look a little bit different. It's still going to be a post, right? So all the information of what's being pulled is in the body as opposed to what's in the URL. Okay. So data egress post properties, you can have start time, you can have end time, record limit, right? And these are the different types that are pulled there. The cloud ID, all of those are going to show in. And then also you can set it as, sort ascending, right? So show me as this builds, you can set that as, it could also be sort descending. your responses are going to look something like this. This is your JSON payload, right? So you have your output, you have your value, right, from each of these. So these are the different times. Here's your timestamp, the value, timestamp, the value. That kind of makes sense, right? That's how it feeds out. Okay. Let me get to where I am in my notes. Let's take a look at the dashboard there quick over here. Because the next thing we're going to talk about is the control API. And this here, these two are pulling from this is the telemetry or the energy or entity model service API. This is the control API, right? So you'll notice this is live temperature, and this is what the temperature has been, right? And the humidity as well. I have both temp and humidity written in there. How this gets is that this is pulling, Grafana is making a call to the cloud, and the cloud is responding back to Grafana, right? So that's the API connection there. So this is not live data. This is data that has been egressed, has been exported up to the cloud, right? The control API is the call is coming from Grafana to the cloud, and the cloud is referencing what's happening in the station. So this is live data, right? So if you're messing around and making calls and stuff like that, a control API call might take slightly longer than an egress or an entity model service API, right? Call, right? Or sorry, an egress API call. The history, that's going to go and it's going to pull it straight away. And then a control API call is going to need to go down into the station and then send back out, right? So as we take a look, what does that mean? Go over here. Read one or more points, right? So, well, here's one. This, data egress. So we're making a call. Send me cloud IDs for space ID temp or for space 1 temp. So it's going to go. It's going to pull back. Here's your cloud ID right there, right? That's pretty quick. Just goes up and it sends it right back down. It's coming from the cloud. If I'm reading a point, and this point is the control, the occupied heat cooling set point, right? For one of these, this is going to take slightly longer because now this is going out. It's going up to the cloud. The cloud is saying down to the station, "Hey, what's the value of it?" And then it's responding back out. The value of it is 75, right? Now I can write that point. You know what? I want to send it to 73, and I'm going to write it at input priority 10. So now you have live read-write capabilities this way as well, right? So I'm going to send that write it at priority 10. It's going to be set for 15 minutes. It was a success. If I go back over here and let's go read one or more points. I send this again. This now should be reading 73. Yep. So it's 73, and you can also see just like the output of a point on a PX page, right? It's going to say okay, the status is okay, and it's being written at 10, not at default, right? Now with that, I can also clear that point too, right? So I can go through here, I can clear that point. Again, this is through the control API, and it's going to release it to where if we go back to reading the point, right? Now if we read it again, it's going to go back to 75 at default.
You wrote that, you gave a time frame of 15 minutes.
I gave it a time. Yep, just like when you overwrite a point, right?
But you did that. And I didn't do timed writes to it.
Yeah, to input. Yep. So that's just like if you did custom wiresheet programming, you right? If you made a numeric writable point into the backnet point, right, and then overrode it for a certain amount of time and had it write to input 10, right? Yeah, that's the way. You from the I was about to say something, but I think I'm going to fact check myself. I'm not sure. I think you could in theory have a timed emergency override if you had it written at 1, but the API call was for, hey, only do this for 15 minutes. I haven't tried that before, but I'm
If the API go in and cancel that?
Yep. It goes in and yeah, after 15 minutes it'll flush it. So these are all posts, right? When I get to the alarm API, we'll take a look at a couple of gets, right? And then that is true in, like I said, in Grafana and your dashboard as well, right? This is going out and making that call of read the value, right? And this, read the live value via the control API, and this is making the call of tell me what the value has been, and then with a backfill. But this is pulling locally from the station, not from the cloud. So the data ends there. Let's go to back over here. From the control API, we've talked about it. Here's the control API documentation. You guys will all get this will be made available to you, so these links will take you straight to them. Provides a way to read directly. So that can be read or it can be write, right? Control read, control write. We talked through all that good stuff. Control clear, right? We can make that call as well. Control read all. So that's one here. I want to find all the points, right? Tell me all the points that are in this station. There you go, big long list, right? This is a way that if you have a dashboarding service or a third-party service that they want to pull a report of show me everything that's in that, show me all the points. There it is there. This can also be set to show me all numeric writables, show me all Boolean points, right? That all is going to then be written in the body up here. So the service account is assigned a role in the Niagara Cloud Portal. We already talked through that. The authentication scheme in the station maps the Niagara Cloud Portal role to the station roles. That's what I had mentioned earlier. So it creates new roles, but those are mapped more or less directly. There's the local user, local operator, local admin, and then there's cloud user, cloud operator, cloud admin. You don't need to configure those. You could if you wanted to, but those are created and configured automatically via the setup in the portal, in the user management of the portal. Okay, so with that, let's get over to the alarms service API. So this is a way, if you're making use of a third-party alarming service, something like that. If you have a dashboard, if you in a skyscraper, you walk into the lobby, or a big commercial building, you walk into the lobby and there's a live, hey, this is what's happening in the building dashboard, right? Including alarms, or in a maintenance office. You can have this configured where it's not reliant on being logged into the supervisor, into the Niagara station. This is going to send out and it can simplify away, or it could be going to an app that all the maintenance the folks have on their phone, and it's going to send them a notification right away, kind of thing. That's the kind of use case for the Alarms API. Documentation, again, you can get this in the docs library. This is going to provide access to all alarm records that have been uploaded to the cloud, right? Regardless of whether the alarm record still exists on the originating station. So here's another needle to thread when to separate the differences here between archive history provider and alarm histories, right? It's not an archive provider back down to the station, but it will hold in the cloud. That could have been cleared off and deleted off the station locally, but it would still be in the cloud. From the JSON response, it's going to contain an array of alarm records that match the search query. Each alarm record is going to contain the same information from the originating station's alarm database. Right? It sounds like it's a repeated kind of a sentence, but it's key to note. It's going to show you exactly what it asked for, what it was being asked for. From the search queries, we don't need to go through all of these, but I want you to see these. These are the sort of logical and relational expressions and operators that are going to be given, right? The expression is something like a name, the field, right? Along those lines. The operators are and, or, not, right? These sort of things could be a relational, could be equals or not equals, right? Those sorts of things. That's what you'll see in the API call if you need to set one of these up. Okay. The page order request and sort order is going to be in the configuration as well. The default can be 100. It could be up to like 10,000, whatever you want it to include. And then also you're going to set it ASC for ascending, right? For direction, descending, DESC, right? That's where you'll see in the call configuration. And then there's the alarm states, right? So these are going to show up in your JSON payload as well. Alarm counts, and then the acknowledge alarm. This can also be done through the API. So if we go over here, and we check, hey, what's the alarm state, right? Now this is where I was differentiating between a post and a get. A get, everything is in the URL here of the call, right? So in the post, this is just telling you where to look, and then what to look for is in the body. In a get, everything is in here, and there's not a body that it's looking for. So you can see it's looking for the state of the alarms. It's going to come in, and it's going to say, hey, message text is temperature is above 77. The current source state is off normal. And so as you read through this, you can see what are the details, right? Now you'll notice normal time and acknowledge time are nonsense, right? January 1st, 1970, the standard for APIs is basically to say, as far as we're concerned, nothing happened before January 1st, 1970. That's kind of like the zero, the baseline. So if you, not unlike I don't remember what a Honeywell controller output is, but like, what is it? JCI sensor. If you see a temperature reading of 143 on a JCI sensor, you know that sensor's bad, right? It's kind of the nonsense time, or the nonsense temp. This is kind of the nonsense time for an API, a GET call. If it says the time happened at January 1st, 1970, you say, oh, okay, that was an empty field, and it just needed to fill in so that it could say something. That's kind of what you're going to see there. So if there is not a normal time or an acknowledged time that has happened yet, that's what the output is going to be.
Okay.
And then also, we can make an alarm count, right? So if we see here, we see customer ID in the call, right? Customer ID, that's set in the configuration. Devices, device UUID, so that's the specific, this station. And then alarms, and then what's the state of the alarms? Here, customer ID, devices, device UUID, alarms, and then count is the call. Setting that count, and now it's going to output what all of the alarm states are, or all the alarm count is. So there can be notes in the alarms that will the notes that are added to the alarms will respond back in the body of the call, of a post call. I'm not going to dig into how that's set up. if you look in the documentation, you'll see that, but I wanted you to see that note. So if there is a note in the alarm and a post call is queried for that alarm's status, it's going to send out with the note included. Okay. Let's just blast through the end here right quick. We can get through the end of this instead of taking a break and then coming back for 10 minutes. Device details, we talked about this a little bit already, right? So this is from the portal here.
What is loading? What dock would that stuff be in? Is it dock cloud or dock WS or?
And which documentation library? If you go to docs.niagara, if you go to the docs.niagara-community.com and then look at the API, you really could just search API and it would pull up all the. Here, let's do this. Log me in. So here's Niagara Cloud here. There's Niagara Cloud Suite documentation page. It's right there. And now here are your API guide right there. You can also search from here. Now it's going to give you all the options, right? So here's the partner guide. There's API mentioned in there. Here's the API guide there. Getting started with Niagara. That'll help you with the other APIs, right? This is the documentation library is something that I keep open all the time, right? And it's a tool that is underutilized by a lot of SIs and users. It's really powerful. Any documentation we have is in here. It's all organized by these tiles. If you kind of know, hey, generally I know I have a hardware question. All right, start down going this way, or you can search. Okay. So device details. Let's go take a look at the device. Device details. Okay. So here you can see your subscription history. You can see we already talked about this a little bit, right? You can see your current subscription status, what project it's a part of, right? Here you can change what project it's a part of and what the device name is and the location as well, right? So here you can set your details in there. We've gone far enough down the line here. JSON stuff. If you want to read more about it, there's certainly resources available. The key parts are that it is human readable. As you read through it, you can see what each of them is, and it feeds out to it is what facilitates dashboards and things along those lines. That's how you set them up. Okay. So with that, I mean, we're at the end of the lesson plan here. You guys have already seen this stuff, 90-day evaluation period, all that kind of stuff. Tridium University courses. Larry already put that up there for you. But I do want to point out a few things here for you. On our website, if you go to services and support and then events, that's going to take you to the Tridium talk, the list of Tridium talks. Yeah, I'll hold that for you while you take the picture. Yeah, you got it. And then also, you'll see, I mean, these are all iframes, but not iframes, but they're all embedded YouTube videos, right? So if you go to the Tridium YouTube channel, you can find all the Tridium talks, a bunch of conversations that some of our folks have had with various industry people, like AHR, stuff like that. But then I would say most valuable is the Tridium talk and then the pro tips videos that my team makes. These are the max headroom floating head videos, right? So if you go there, you can see all of our pro tips. We have a whole series on Niagara Cloud Suite. but then also on just about everything else too, including documentation library. That's the most recent one I made a couple months ago. And then, like I mentioned before, the Cloud Suite, or the documentation library, and specifically the Cloud Suite documentation page within it, is there. That's everything. You guys have any questions? Anything that came up? Any queries about potential projects I can answer while we wait for the lunch to arrive or anything? Or no? Okay. Sweet. Kind of blasted through all that. There's a whole lot of information in there, and I try and like pare it down. You know.
If we're to do a beta test, like,
Yeah.
and if during the end of
Yeah.
9th day,
Yep.
and go,
How is the pricing structure? I know we have to go through the vehicle.
Yeah. So the pricing structure is from can, like Larry had mentioned a little bit. You can subscribe to the services individually, and then there's a bundle of remote and recover, right? And then there's a bundle of all three, right?
And it's
So remote and recover are a static price, right? It could be a tiny station, could be a huge station. It's the same price for remote and recover. The usage metrics, where I was going off of and saying, hey, this is data egress, there's 3 tiers based off of size, right? So it's like bronze, silver, and gold. I think bronze is 30 megs, or 50 megs, 300 megs, and 600 megs, something like that. Or gigs, right? Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, no. I think it's like, yeah, it's gigs, and it's based off basically those 3 tiers. And then, if it goes over, there is, it doesn't cut off at that, right? There is overage cost, which is it's not exorbitant. It's like, hey, basically just, if you go over by 110%, you go over by 10%, it's basically like a 10% overage or something. I think it's something along those lines. I don't know for sure. That's a Larry question. You know what I mean? When it comes to the business side, that's a Larry question. The questions for me are, how do I make this work? Kind of thing.
Yeah, we ran through it. I think we're pretty much all of our customers do the recovery at least.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you don't do anything else, the recovery is dirt cheap.
That's what I've been telling. That's what I've been telling everybody, every SI I know, and I'm pretty close with SIs, with the SIs in the Twin Cities Metro, and it pretty much kind of all of Minnesota. It just makes sense.